What's good, family? Welcome back in. I know it's been a while. Appreciate y'all joining. We gonna get up into it. Much love to everybody. Get this thing warmed up and started. Sorry for the late delay. Had to get it in. Shout out to all the first ones arriving. I see you, FFS. Appreciate you. Tall Glass, what up? Tack Clouds, what up? What up? I see y'all. Appreciate you. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, what's good, family? Appreciate all y'all joining. Appreciate y'all being the first ones here. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe, tap in, and welcome back to season 3 of Flesh of the Gods. I hope you enjoy, family. Much love, much love.
Peace to the family. Welcome to Flesh of the Gods. So you want to get your hands on some slime coins? No problem. Just jump into the chat, drop a message, and boom, you'll be gifted your first points. Now, if you want to see how many you've got, just type !slime coins in the chat, one word, no spaces, and you'll see your balance pop up in the chat. And when you're ready to redeem them, look up at the top of the screen for command prompts. The commands on the top left will alter the stream. The commands on the top right will summon puppets. You can donate via CashApp at $versatile369 or the PayPal link in the video description. Thank you for tapping into the most interactive live stream. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support is greatly appreciated. Stay fresh and stay blessed, family.
Shout out to No One for the beat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all being here, family. We about to get into it. That's some of the things we left off on last time. You know, that Eppinger and all that. We got some little baby coming up. Let me move these things out the way real quick. Yeah, so we're gonna start off with Miles Farley. This right here is what? Let me see. This is Diamante Kendrick.
Go ahead.
Before we get to that, this one right here, Diamante Kendricks, aka Yak Gotti. Oh no, that's not the one I want to do. Let's go back a little. Motion for reconsideration. Let me see. I don't know. I'll pull those back up. I don't want to spend too much time Allegedly maybe in the building. What's up, Miss D55? We just getting started, just getting warmed up. Appreciate y'all being here, family. Sorry for the slow start. You know, I'm kind of rusty, you feel me? We gonna get into it, though. Christian Eppinger and all that. Allegedly maybe. Jazzy T in the building. FFS in the building. What up, though? Diamante Kendricks, that's the one. February. Probation revocation warrant.
Go ahead.
Chan Black is golden. What up? What up? Chan Black is golden. Street Flames crew TV. What up, family? You think they gonna try to indict Lil Baby? I don't think that's gonna work out. But we got that coming up today. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's get it started. This is Miles Farley, attorney. We're gonna start off with his in-court appearance when this was during the YSL trial, basically. So this was before all that, before he got severed, and this is a little bit before the trial. So let's get into it. Appreciate y'all, family.
So you arrive at the scene. You didn't recognize Miles Farley, correct?
Do me a favor, talk in the microphone, please, sir. Thank you.
When you first saw Miles Farley, you didn't recognize him, correct?
No.
Okay. Now, you talked about the Cleveland Avenue area. It's true, though, that not everyone who lives in the Cleveland Avenue area is a criminal, correct?
That's true.
Okay. And you said it's unusual to see a Lamborghini on Cleveland Avenue?
At 1 o'clock in the morning at 5 Cleveland Avenue it is. I'd never seen one in 2 years at that time.
Okay.
I only work at night, so.
Okay, and is that because it's a lower income area?
Yes.
Okay. There's not a lot of job opportunities, right?
I don't know. I don't live there. You said job opportunities?
Yes.
I've never applied for a job in that area.
Okay.
I work there though.
Okay, so you are patrolling this beat for about 2 years, but you're not familiar with the economic situation of the area.
The economic situation? It's a lower impoverished area, yes.
Okay, have you ever heard it called Lil Haiti?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and you've been patrolling this area for 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you talked about having an experience with this house before, that you saw a bunch of cars outside.
Yes.
Did that make you angry seeing people having fun?
No, it did not make me angry.
Okay, did it make you angry seeing people have nice cars?
No, it did not. I like my truck.
Okay, and so it didn't make you jealous at all seeing people having fun?
I got an older model truck that I really enjoy that I'm never going to sell.
Okay. Now, at this point then, when you arrive after the shooting, you already thought this was somehow some kind of criminal house?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been wanting to get in there, right?
Not in particular. It's just been on my radar. I just patrol the area.
Okay, it's been on your radar as a house that's involved in crime?
Mainly because I've seen YSL members there, but yes.
So yes. And so you're a police officer. You're in charge of stopping crime, correct?
Correct.
So it's your answer that you are aware of a house that you think is involved with crime, yet you have no interest to get inside?
That's correct, because I'm a patrol officer. We have investigative unit. My job is very unique in the sense that when a crime happens and the perpetrator's not there, I write it down and move on. If the perpetrator is there, I arrest them. Again, hanging out at a house is not a crime.
Correct.
So I did not, there was no reason for me to investigate that. I'm not an investigator. I'm a patrol officer, and we're very short-staffed, as you probably know, and I'm very busy.
Right, and you said that, though, you thought the house is associated with crime.
Yes.
And that because you're a patrolman, you didn't have any interest of going inside.
That's correct.
But as a person of law enforcement, you did have an interest for someone else from law enforcement to get in there, right?
Say that again?
So the house, you say, is a criminal house, and you don't have any interest in anyone from law enforcement getting inside?
I don't have any interest from anyone from law enforcement getting inside. That's your question? Is that your question?
You are telling us.
I'm telling you that I'm a patrol officer. I don't sit around and try to get in people's houses. I handle anywhere from 15 to 20 calls a night, 40 hours a week on Cleveland Avenue for 13 years. And I don't have time to think about going into people's houses. I deal with people on the street. They're moving in cars. There's people that are pulling guns on us on traffic stops, drug deals, all that. I'm not concerned with going in someone's house. We have plenty of investigative units that's their sole focus, is getting warrants, hitting warrants. I don't hit warrants. I've never hit a warrant. I've been a patrol officer my entire 13 years.
Okay. And though you do have an interest in stopping crime?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you're hearing someone on the Ring audio, you didn't ask them, is everybody okay in there? You didn't testify about asking if anyone was okay.
I asked him if well, you'd have to, I'm sure I asked him if someone was hurt.
Based on totality of the circumstances, including the location of the firearm, Mr. Farley's criminal history, and the exchange between the two occupants, Mr. Farley was placed into custody and charged with possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer. So we got coming up later where we're going to show when he got the first offender with Judge Whitaker. And so he was recently arrested again. And now I guess he locked up again. So I'm going to have to look that up. I seen the case number, but I don't see it in Odyssey. But anyway, we're going to get into it.
Inside the home, or if anyone was home, he had told me that he wasn't there and no one should be inside the house. I believe that's what he said. But this was more than a year ago, so you'd have to play the body cam to get the exact conversation.
Okay.
T.
And
Roberts, what up,
when
though?
Officer Suezo kicked in the bedroom, or kicked in the front door, that's when he found out that no one was injured.
He's a sergeant, but yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
He's Sergeant Suazo.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that the people inside of the house were victims.
Yes.
Is that typical for law enforcement when they're dealing with victims to just immediately detain them?
It is when we're still conducting an investigation and when facts aren't lining up with the evidence we're seeing, such as you're saying that you're in the woods and you're completely dry, or you're saying you're not coming to the door for 20 minutes when we're announcing police because you're scared of gunfire. When we have inconsistencies like that, we do detain people, and I've done it numerous times throughout my career.
You gonna detain them because they didn't come to the door for 20 minutes? Because they don't trust y'all? Because y'all be locking people up and shooting people?
Career until we further our investigation, because officer safety is a real problem out there, especially at night when there's very limited resources besides the officer to your left and to your right.
And especially because you already think that this is a supposedly criminal house, correct?
Yes, I have seen, especially, because I've seen YSL members at that house on numerous occasions in the front yard, yes.
And now by YSL, are you referring to Young Stoner Life, Young Slime Life, or Yves Saint Laurent?
Well, I'm not really into rap.
Yeah, I got the Moontoon filing too. Dang, I hope I didn't play it in the beginning. If so, I could pull it back up. But I got it in here. Y'all don't let me skip it.
I'm not in the rap culture, all right? I don't do none. The only thing that I know is YSL. I see slime written everywhere. I see YSL. So to me, I guess it's Young Slime Life. But I don't listen to rap. I don't do all that. So to me, it's slime because that's what I see written on everything.
Okay, and there were no bullet holes coming out of the house, correct? There's no evidence of anyone from inside the house firing out of the house?
Once we were done concluding the investigation, I don't believe we found any bullet or defects coming out of the house. They all appeared to go in, yeah.
Okay, and then when you go into the house, Mr. Miles Farley comes out with his hands up and tells you that he's scared?
I believe so, yes.
And then you immediately put him in handcuffs?
Well, we asked him what was going on. Why are you guys hiding? We thought you were dead. Like, why aren't you coming to the door? And they couldn't give us any answers. So we did detain them and sat him on the couch.
Okay, Miles Farley told you, though, that he was scared. That's why he didn't go to the door?
Yes.
Okay, and is that normal when victims are in fear and they haven't shot at you or done anything wrong that you put them in handcuffs?
Well, the thing is, we were out there for quite a while with blue lights with probably what, 6 officers. We have blue lights blaring everywhere. We got crime scene tape up. We're pounding on the door. I mean, to still be scared with that much police presence, that is highly unusual from drive-by shootings on.
Shout out to Thugger Daily coming through with the couple posts that got me looking in a little deeper into this. SLATO, aka Miles Farley, back in jail today for gun possession while on probation from a YSL trial. Man, that's some shady business.
Residents that I've handled in the past.
Okay, now I'm going to back up to the beginning and ask my questions, okay?
Okay.
All right. So now you are trained in writing reports, correct?
Yes,
And you're very experienced in writing reports, correct?
I am.
Okay, and that's because reports are important in law enforcement?
They are.
Because they help you remember what happened later on at trial?
Yep.
Okay, and they're actually relied on by others as well, correct?
Yes.
And they're...
Along with the body cam and crime scene photographs.
Right. And we did have body cam in this case, correct?
Correct.
And no reason to think that the body cam was changed or altered in any way?
There's no reason to think that.
And these reports are written soon after the incident, correct?
Correct.
And that's what makes them reliable?
Yes.
Okay. And they're relied on by other police officers, right?
Yes.
And prosecutors?
Yes.
Okay. And they're also relied on in case you're not around to testify, correct?
Correct.
If maybe you move away, or if you retire,
Correct.
or if, knock on wood, you're hurt or killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You say, yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. Yeah. For always, for life. What up, though? Appreciate you joining. Allie in the building. What's good? Crime Tonic Limited. That's my bro right there. Y'all show him some love. And no one in the building. What up, family? Appreciate y'all joining.
And you followed your experience and your training when you wrote the reports in this case, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now I'm going to move on to you arriving on the scene. So how many officers in total arrived on the scene that night?
4 to 6, 5 to 6. I don't know. In total, you're talking about investigators, the night commander, everybody. Probably.
And about how long after those officers arrived was the door broken down?
Dang, my bad. New thing. It wasn't supposed to work out like that. My fault, family.
It was a while. I want to say 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I'd have to estimate. I don't know the exact time, but it wasn't immediate. It was a while.
Right, okay. Now, you already believed at this time that Christian McMiller was killed as part of some kind of gang activity?
I believe that. Is that what you're saying?
At the time, is that what you thought?
I didn't have any formal information because I don't talk to investigators. Again, I work at night and I don't ever see them. I have very limited exposure to investigators, but I did believe that was the case, yes.
Okay. And you also believe that this house is somehow related to Mr. Jeffrey Williams?
Yes, mainly because I saw his Lamborghini pull behind the house that night.
And you're actually on the body cameras talking about Mr. Jeffrey Williams even before the door is broken, correct?
Probably, yes.
Okay. And just to check, there was no Ford Fusion on the scene?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe like a white Ford Fusion?
I didn't look at any of the vehicles. I was focused on the gunfire or the defects in the house.
Okay.
There may have been. I don't know.
Okay. But if there was, that would be on the body cam?
Yes.
Which haven't been changed or altered in any way?
It'd be on somebody's body cam. There's a lot of officers out there. I didn't walk around in the yard or anything, but if it was out there, it'd probably be on somebody.
Like, I don't know. We didn't really do shit. We just act like we was doing stuff. The driver later stated that he would take ownership of the firearm if I let Mr. Farley free, which indicates to me that they both knew the gun was inside the vehicle before the traffic stop. Mr. Farley was placed into custody and charged with 1611-13B, possession of firearm by first offender probation. Crazy stuff. I don't know. It sounds like it might have been a setup. you know, they be coming out for theirs. That's like anybody who got away from this trial, y'all need to get up out of Georgia, man, or at least away from Fulton County or anywhere out of Fani's reach, cause you know she ruthless. She's still coming for everybody. She said everybody can get it, right? What she say? Let me see. Do I got the phone? Here you go.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Okay, a lot of officers, so a lot of body cams.
Yes.
Okay. And no one from inside the house called 911, correct?
Correct.
The 911 caller was actually an anonymous caller?
I don't recall, but if you're saying that's what it was, then that's probably true.
Would it refresh your memory if I showed you your report?
My report? Yeah. I got it right here.
Yeah.
Where is it at?
Don't read from it, but if you could take a minute to refresh your memory and then let the court know when your memory is refreshed.
Yes, I see it. The second sentence, it was anonymous caller with no callback number.
No callback number?
Correct.
Okay. So we don't know who called 911?
Correct.
Okay. So it could have been someone from in the house?
I mean, it could have been. I don't know. I had no idea.
Okay, right. And you didn't hear any screams coming from within the house?
No.
There's no blood outside of the house?
No.
There's no blood trail leading from outside of the house inside?
No. But
There's no blood trail leading.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's no blood trail from inside of the house outside of the house?
No.
Okay. And someone talks to you from the Ring doorbell, correct?
Correct.
And they don't ask for any kind of help or anything, right?
I asked them if they were in the house. They told me they were not at the house. So I asked him, "Is there anyone in the house?" And he said, "I don't know." So he wasn't much help. And then I asked him for his information because I would need it for the report, and he abruptly hung up on me.
He didn't ask you for help?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he wasn't there either. He wasn't the one getting his house shut up inside the house. So you know what I'm saying?
He didn't tell you that anyone was injured?
No, he didn't. He wasn't there.
Okay. And then some officers look through the broken blind and they see the legs of someone laying down.
Yes.
They don't see any blood inside the house.
We saw from the bottom of basically from the bottom of the knee to the foot. So, and that very limited view, so the blinds are closed. One of the blinds is cracked, so we have a very limited view inside this bedroom, but we do see skin from the knee to the foot, and it's not moving. I don't know whose it is, but it ain't moving. There was not blood, but it was not moving, and considering we'd been there for 20 minutes at that time, that's very odd. So I'm thinking he took a round to the chest, whoever this is laying in the bedroom, because a normal person ain't just gonna lay there like that for 20, 30 minutes. So that's my mindset.
So you didn't see any blood in the house?
And no, I didn't see any blood, no.
Didn't see any injuries in the house?
You talking about once we got in?
You didn't see any injuries within the house?
Like after we kicked in the door or through the through that little blind we were looking through?
You didn't observe anyone with injuries inside the house at any point during this incident, correct?
That is correct. Nobody was injured.
Okay.
So this is the warrant, the charges: possession of a firearm, first offender. We seen that. Unlawful for a person employed by, associated with a criminal street gang to conduct, participate in. Does it say crime or criminal? I say criminal. Oh, probably criminal activity. It might have got cut short. Unlawful for a person to commit offense with intent to obtain, earn membership, maintain, increase status. So they're going to try to still get them back in there with the gang charges, with the RICO stuff. They ruthless out there, man. They ain't no joke.
Now I'm going to move on to you encountering Mr. Miles Farley for the first time.
Okay.
What up, Plans and Pins? I see you. Joni 4 in the building. What's good? What's good? Appreciate y'all joining, family.
All right, so when you enter the house, Mr. Farley is the first one to come out and meet you, correct?
I believe so.
And he's coming out with his hands up?
Yes.
He doesn't resist?
No.
He's not violent towards you?
No.
He doesn't tell you that, he tells you that he's scared?
Yes.
Okay. He actually doesn't resist anyone at any point, correct?
That's correct. Nobody resisted.
Okay, he's completely cooperative with you.
I wouldn't say completely cooperative. He gave me very limited information and didn't come to the door for 30 minutes. So that's kind of uncooperative, in my opinion.
Mr. Farley never tells you anything that isn't true over the course of this incident, correct?
Considering he only told me he heard shots and hid, then I guess that would be an accurate statement.
Okay, thank you. Now, he gives you his full name, Miles Farley?
Yes.
Okay. There's no hesitation in him giving you his full government name, right? He just says it immediately,
Yep,
right?
he told me, yes.
First and last.
That's correct.
Okay.
And his date of birth.
And his date of birth.
Correct.
Okay, which you can then use to look up criminal histories.
I didn't look up his criminal history.
Okay. And you don't. That's his.
We need that basic information for a report. All right. So every time a house gets shot up, which is pretty frequent. Okay. I need the victim's name and date of birth so I can truly list them as a victim in the report, which is why we gather that information. We don't gather the information to run a bunch of stuff. We need them for the report.
Right. Mr. Farley appreciates you for that.
You're welcome.
Be safe out there, no one.
It turns out that is his real name, right? Miles
It is,
Farley?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And after he gives you his real name and tells you that he's scared, you put him in handcuffs.
Correct.
Okay. And then you put him on the couch.
Yes. And so can I elaborate on that?
You put him on the couch in handcuffs, correct?
Can I elaborate on that?
Go ahead.
Put him on the
Go
couch.
ahead. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I can?
Since it's me, Mr. Manhattan.
Okay, I understand, Judge.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So
Okay.
what else were you going to elaborate?
So I just want to elaborate. So yes, we did handcuff him, but we did that because we weren't getting straightforward answers. We're furthering our investigation. They're hiding for 30.
So how often do they do that? They tell you can't leave, you in handcuffs, but they tell you not under arrest. You just detained. You detained for investigation. Like, that's arrest. If I can't leave, then that's arrest. I don't know why they be always trying to slide that word detained in there like it's different. No, you got me under arrest. You just didn't take me to jail.
Minutes, and also for officer safety. And I'm glad we did handcuff him because he had a loaded handgun in his pants that we had no idea about, which can be very dangerous for us. He had it in his pocket. So that's why, especially when we don't know what's going on, the initial stages of a very active scene that you could be killed in a second. I don't know if anyone's ever pulled a gun on you, but it happens very, very fast. So yes, we handcuff people when we don't know what's going on, when we're still diving into our investigation, and we just unhandcuff them once we determine what has happened for officer safety especially. And in that case, I'm glad we did. He definitely didn't have any ill intention, but he did have a loaded firearm in his pocket that we found out later about, which was given back to him after he was released.
Okay, I'll get to that later. So
What up,
he
Allie?
is handcuffed because you're a bit skeptical about his role in the situation.
Yes.
Okay, but eventually he's allowed to leave.
Yes.
Okay, but at that time, because you're skeptical and you have him in handcuffs on the couch, he's not free to leave, correct?
Hey, Ali, I'm gonna give you a fair warning. I decided to change the YNW Melly to a future episode, so that paperwork's still not in there tonight. So just so you don't be waiting, like, where is that? But I had it in here, but I ended up taking it out because I didn't put enough Melly in there. So maybe I'll put it up later if we still got time. Appreciate you though, family.
I would say that he was detained. If he would have said I want to leave, we'd treat him like a victim. But he was handcuffed and sat on the couch.
And now that's not
That's arrest. That's arrest. What are you talking about?
true. When he asks after, okay, but eventually he's allowed to leave.
Yes.
Okay, but at that time, because you're skeptical and you have him in handcuffs on the couch, he's not free to leave, correct?
I would say that he was detained. If he would have said I want to leave, we'd treat him like a victim. But he was handcuffed and sat on the couch.
And now that's not true. When he asks after you talk to him, and he asks, "Can someone come pick me up?" You say no.
I said no. I said no. I don't recall saying no. I guess you can play the video for me to refresh my memory.
Yeah,
if that's what I said.
Yeah, would it refresh your memory if I played you some of the video?
Yes, it would.
1 second.
INLY.
Okay.
Not really.
We'll look at 167 VV. Who is in 167 VV?
Miles Farley.
And do you see an item inside of his left pocket?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever ask him what that was or take that item out of his pocket?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay. Looking at 168 VV. Who is in 168 VV?
Demekion Garlington.
All right. And now looking at 169 VV.
Brooklyn property where she failed to disclose rental income for years. Undisclosed rental income. Cranes revealed.
My bad. I didn't know I was watching that while I was recording her.
A defense attorney with this case, well, he was arrested. Officials say attorney Anastasios Menendez was arrested inside of the Fulton County courtroom. And this is video of when we spoke with him earlier this month. We're told he's facing several charges, including simple battery on a law enforcement officer, obstruction, and disruption of court proceedings.
The attorney who was arrested, Anastasios Menendez, had to hire his own lawyer. Now that lawyer believes this entire case will be thrown out.
The arrest shouldn't have occurred to begin with. I think it was a grave mistake on the sheriff's office.
Attorney Brian Tevis says his colleague and now client, attorney Anastasios Menendez, should have never been arrested while heading into the courtroom.
This was surprising, unbelievable, kind of shocking. This was not marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, or any kind of illicit drug. These are prescription medications. These are things that people have for very private, personal issues.
Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt says the prescription drugs were not in their original containers.
So they, for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of us know by now, but they straight locked this guy up. His lawyer now, they talking about his attorney. He got locked up for having his own pills on him, his own drug pills, his own prescription drugs. But the problem was, they saying is because he had them in different containers, like they had a different milligram or something like that. It was the same pill, just a different milligram. They was like different colors, which is not illegal out there apparently. But you know, they was doing all types of stuff, which is crazy how janky they are out there.
And were detected during a secondary security checkpoint outside the courtroom where the YSL racketeering trial is underway.
He had the same drug prescribed to him in 2 different quantities, and they put him in one bottle, and that's what they're saying was the issue. And it's completely legal to have your own prescriptions in any container that's not the prescription bottle. They didn't read the second half of the statute.
Menendez's attorney believes the 4 misdemeanors and 1 felony his client faces will all be thrown out.
It's crazy though, they put him through all that. Here go the bond hearing. This is the same people. This is Menendez. I should have looked up his name so I could see how to pronounce it, because it sounds like everybody be saying it wrong, especially Glanville. But this is him trying to fight for Farley to get a bond before the case was severed, because remember, he ended up getting severed after that that pill situation with the lawyer. They severed him from the trial after that, because you know that was gonna cause more problems. They only sever him when it's gonna cause problems for the state. But yeah, we gonna get into it. This is him trying to get bond for Miles Farley.
Mr. Gear, I'm going to go forward, and it's a motion to reconsider bond. So tell me what's changed since the last time that I considered bond for you, or for your client, I should say.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity. There's a lot that's changed.
Because I denied him bond back in May the 23rd of this year.
That's correct, Your Honor. That's right.
All right.
That was all based on proffers made by the state and the defense before discovery had ever been sent out. And so, Your Honor, I do want to correct several misstatements that the state made about Mr. Farley at that prior hearing, so that the court now has a more nuanced, full picture of things to take into consideration with the other things presented, as well as the Ayala factors. Your Honor, there was a lot of proffers about the murder count that Mr. Farley is alleged to be a party to. We've since gotten the discovery. The warrant affidavit itself alleges no party to a crime allegation whatsoever. It alleges just mere presence and mere association, Judge. And I've now done a little investigation into Mr. Farley's clothing company, which is what brought him into all this in the first place, Judge. And so I do want the court to consider that together with some proffers. And I understand the state's position about the privacy of the discovery and that they have a pending motion about us not sharing discovery outside of our legal staff. And I would also, for the record, they have made some implications about the defense counsels in this case, yet they're using Dropbox, which is a private third-party company. So it's entirely possible that someone within their office or someone within Dropbox has connections to social media and, TMZ and stuff like that. So I would ask Judge if we could do an in-camera inspection of some very small portions of the discovery, specifically the BP video that the state referenced earlier at the prior bond hearing.
Did you put that in your motion?
No, Judge, I didn't.
Okay, so I'm going to take up that on the 8th. So if you want to proffer or have me consider that, file a motion. I invite you to put some suitable facts and law in there like you're doing right now and have me consider it and have the state respond to it, okay?
Yes, Judge, and may I continue?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Yes, so in the case that bond is denied today, Judge, I will return on the 8th with that in-camera motion. But for now, Judge, I'll proffer what I find different to the state, Judge. For one, the state implied at the prior hearing that Mr. Farley knew these people very intimately, that he greeted them when they walked into the BP. But, Your Honor, what actually happened is there's a Fusion and an Audi. The Audi is alleged to have Mr. Shannon Stillwell in it. The Fusion is alleged to have Mr. Kumarvi.
That's cool. Hold on. I know you ain't talking about this one at the table. Love wearing the mask. Oh, wait. That was probably from the last video, huh?
It's Nichols and Mr. Farley in the back seat with Kumarvius driving. And so the Audi and the Fusion are at this gas station right around from the juvenile court, Your Honor. And then the deceased pulls up in a car. And when that deceased leaves, the Audi follows him and the Fusion follows him with Miles in the back seat of the Fusion. The license plate reader.
So that's what happened with Shannon. Remember in Yak? I mean, not Yak. What's his name? The other. Damn, I forgot his name already. The other Marquavius. The other Quay. Qua. No, but that's from that the Audi video. We played that plenty of times. We seen that. What up, Lady L? I see you. Appreciate you. Hey, what up, Joni 4? I want to send a shout out to you. I seen you in the messages. My bad, I ain't been responding to y'all in the messages. I just been kind of real busy working on a lot of stuff in the background, but I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, though, Joni 4, for sure, for sure. Appreciate the love and support. Miss you too. Glad to see you around again. I mean, me around again, I guess.
There's confirmed that the Audi is in front of the car that Mr. Miles Farley is in the back seat of. And, Your Honor, it's this mere association with Mr. Kumarvius that led him to be there. He's not even a driver of one of the cars. And he doesn't actually greet anyone when he walks into the BP.
Yeah, Kumarvius, not Marquavius, my bad. Kumarvius Nichols.
Stillwell and Mr. Nichols are standing at the cashier, doing something playful with the cashier. And Mr. Farley later gets out of his car from the back seat, walks into the store by himself, and doesn't acknowledge Mr. Stillwell or Mr. Nichols. And as he's walking by to get something, Mr. Stillwell turns and does this playful, bucking kind of playful thing and startles Mr. Farley, who then playfully turns around and continues to go into the store. And then out of the corner of Mr. Farley's eye, he sees Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Nichols about to just leave him there. And so he, in a panic, scurries away, follows them out the door. They don't even acknowledge him any further. They turn his back on him and they leave, Your Honor. So the association and the presence here has more nuance to it than the state alleged at their proffer, Judge. And so what I contend to this court is its corroboration of what I presented to the court initially, that Mr. Farley, he's a graduate of South Atlanta High School and Miles University, and all this time at 24 years old, has never been convicted of anything besides a misdemeanor amount of marijuana at some point, Judge, which is a typical teenager, childish thing. So, Your Honor, he has no criminal history. He's an entrepreneur with a business degree, and his specialty is he makes clothing. The company is called Make America Slime Again. It's a play on words. In the hip-hop industry, there's a lot of this. You put the word trap or slime into something that's already part of pop culture. It's just good business, Judge. It's something people already recognize. It's something that's kind of humorous. And this is one of the shirts, Judge, I have for you to see. This was a new shirt after Make America Slime Again off of the Trump logo or slogan. now there was Keep America Slime. So all it is, Judge, is these hats and shirts that took the Trump merchandise, replaced it with this word slime, which is not always criminal. And like every word, and especially that word, it's context dependent. It's like the word dude. It depends who's saying it, when are they saying it, who are they saying it to, why. You could be my dude, you could step on my shoes, and I could be like, dude, what was that? You know, you could be that dude. There's so many things. So slime on its own means nothing because it can mean so many things depending on the context. So that's all he's doing, Judge. He's making these clothes. He sees a business opportunity. He's friends with Mr. Wani Lee, who's the creator of the hip-hop persona Slime Life Shorty. And as his friend, he becomes his personal assistant to make sure he gets to music videos on time, stuff like that. He's actually paid by the label that's not even YSL. And then, Judge, he's using the proximity to celebrity to take advantage of just attention, which is a top commodity these days, name recognition, product placement, to have his hoodies and his shirts in these music videos worn by these artists is a way to make money. And he's born and raised, actually raised on Cleveland. It's not just a tattoo. He's raised on Cleveland Avenue. His dad's also an entrepreneur. They call that area Little Haiti because there's not a lot around, so you have to be an entrepreneur. So here we have a young man, college educated, never been arrested for a felony, and he's making his clothes, and instead of sitting there and maybe, you know, selling them on the street next to the people, you know, doing the lamb chops or selling the Powerades, he has this brilliant idea to go on tour with Mr. Wani Lee and sell to like fish in a barrel.
That's a fact. If you have handcuffs on, you're under arrest. And then y'all sitting there questioning them. And then another reason you saying they not under arrest because you ain't read their rights yet. You ain't said you have the right to remain silent yet. So you can sit there and keep on talking to them before you put them under arrest. Crazy.
These suburban kids that go to these concerts, and I can proffer Judge as an officer to the court. I remember what that environment was like, you know, back in 2008, going to University of Michigan, go to the Kid Cudi concert, buy the t-shirt. And I almost want to say that I do remember there was a shirt where they had Kid Cudi as the Obama campaign thing at the time. So similar to what's going on here, Judge. It's like a deja vu. And so I admire Mr. Farley. He's very smart. He's well educated. And he found an opportunity to make this clothing. And then the state, because he's wearing this shirt that says slime or die, again, a play on words, if Your Honor remembers the Get Out the Vote campaign, vote or die. I think it might have been P. Diddy or some people at the time were pushing that. Again, Judge, just artistic play on words, proximity to other artists who are in music instead of clothing, and that's all this is, Judge. So on the Ayala factors, he hasn't ever threatened to tamper with any witnesses whatsoever.
Right, like he been to school and all that. We even got his principal. I got his principal coming up on this mug. What up, laugh always, have fun. I see you. Appreciate you joining.
He's barely in any of the discovery.
Oh, hold on. And before that, while I was saying hi, let me mention a couple other names I've seen. Miss D, Sapphire Ridge News. What up, what up, what up? And then there was somebody else that crept in here I want to say what's up to while I got... Oh, Black Butterfly. What up, though? I see you. Appreciate you, family. Welcome back. Yes, I appreciate it.
This 5 terabytes, it's not even everything, but he's barely in it, Judge. He pops up on the scene because he returns home after going to college instead of going out of state. And, you know, I admire him for that. He's a family-oriented person. He has a child. The mother of his child helps him with the clothing company, Your Honor. And his father still stays there in the barbershop on Cleveland Avenue. And so I just don't see now, with having the discovery and knowing more about the clothing line, how we can deny Mr. Farley's bond. He can't be considered any risk, let alone a significant risk of reoffending, because he's never even been accused of a felony besides this. And the warrant affidavit itself, to this day, along with the discovery, alleges no assistance or any of the other 5 ways that you can commit a party to a crime, in addition to being the principal. It does not say that. It just says that he was driven somewhere by...
He on Zoom. He was hiding behind his screen on Zoom.
by Marvius, gets out of the back seat, gets back in the back seat, and then the car is behind a car that's alleged to be involved in a shooting, and we don't even know the circumstances of that shooting. It doesn't even seem planned. It doesn't seem to be connected to anyone the way the other murders are alleged to be connected, Judge. And so He can't be considered a significant risk to reoffend. He can't be considered a danger to the community. He's college educated with no criminal history. He can't be considered a flight risk. He's cooperative the entire time. He is arrested without incident, without flight, no attempts of flight. He's had his communications monitored this entire time. I know that the Fulton jail even has voice recognition that knows when people are using other people's phones. It's not anything like that either. And so, Your Honor, the state does allege that he's present at a public forum, a public hearing with Mr. Wani Lee at some point. But again, Judge, he's his personal assistant. And all that the discovery alleges is that Mr. Farley told him where the courtroom was. There's no threatening, there's no witness intimidation, Judge. His communication has been monitored this entire time at the jail, and he just can't be considered a risk for any of the IALA factors. And so, Your Honor, we just asked for their bond to be set in a reasonable amount, given the severity of the charges, to add some harsh conditions. I propose for the court a bond of $100,000, that he stay at the address that we provided to the court at the prior hearing, 2894 Browns Mill Road in Atlanta, Georgia, zip code 30354, and that we put him under the highest pretrial level of supervision and a 24/7 house arrest, and even take away his internet access. He can conduct his business through assistance without having to actually access the internet himself, Judge. That way, there can't be any worry about him contacting any witnesses or anything like that. And so, Judge, I do want to call Miss Patricia Ford very briefly to say a few words about Miles. She's his high school principal. She knows him very intimately over several years, and she can speak as well to the IALA factors, Your Honor. So I would want to briefly call her and then allow the state to respond.
All right, Ms. Ford, can you unmute yourself, please? Ms. Ford, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, good afternoon.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You're gonna have to speak up just a little bit. I'm gonna administer an oath to you, okay?
Okay, that's
Can you
fine.
raise your right hand for me, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you'll give in the matter now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God or so affirm?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down, and you have to speak up. Use your outside voice.
So my name is Patricia Ford. I was Miles' principal for 4 years. Miles, he was my student. He was like my son. Everyone knew Miles was my student, and if Miles didn't do his homework or he just didn't do anything on task academically, they would bring Miles to me, and I would just address Miles like he was my child. Everyone knows the love that I have for Miles. He performed well academically. He's a short kid by stature, but just a mighty soul and a mighty person. A lovable young man who went off to do great things after leaving South Atlanta High School. And so as a school, we all know Miles, we love Miles, and have just been taken aback by what he's being accused of.
How many of them you think was able to have a principal come in there and vouch for them and talk about how good of a person they was and how much they deserve bond?
Just because of his
But you know he still denied it, of course.
disposition and demeanor that he betrayed and demonstrated while at South Atlanta. Never got into any trouble while at South Atlanta. He may have gotten into something his senior year for horseplaying. He is known for just being a jokester and horseplaying at school, but getting into fights never happened at South Atlanta High School. Not in my 4 years of knowing him. Just an overall good kid.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. And just to be clear, you were the principal. Was Miles ever accused of any kind of misconduct or suspended from school or anything like that, besides the horseplay that you mentioned?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. And did you stay in touch with Miles after you graduated?
Yes, we did. He would come by the school when he was on vacation from school. He would always talk to another staff member at school, and I would keep up with him through her.
Okay, and as a principal, do you sometimes have a sense when you're observing these students in their formative years, which students might get into trouble in the future and which you feel like, no way, that's going to happen? Okay, and which,
yes.
Which of those buckets did Mr. Miles Farley fall into? Your discretion as a principal.
This would be the one that would never get in trouble. Because of his home bringing by his parents, he was just like a good kid, like we would say, just raised the right way. So just knowing that he's caught up in this is just taking many of us aback at the school who are still there, who knows Miles.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And then if he requires any of your assistance while he's being supervised and released on bond, would you be there for him to support?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ford. Those are all my questions.
State, have any questions of Ms. Ford?
Polo.
Okay, all right, Ms. Ford, thank you very much. I'm going to put you back on mute. You can be excused to go back to your usual duties and avocation. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you much, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
What up, Sapphire?
And, Your Honor, that's all I have at this time, except for a brief opportunity to respond to anything that the state might say.
Okay, what says the state? Go ahead, Mr. Geary.
I'll just do it from here.
You can sit or stand, sir, whatever your pleasure. I know we've been here a while, and it's about time for me to take a break. So.
No problem, Judge. Judge, contrary to what counsel just indicated, there is actually nothing new from the bond hearing from the 25-23, Judge. On that date, and what counsel wanted to do was argue the sufficiency of the evidence at trial, which is again not what bond is about. I understand he's presumed innocent, but we have the evidence. We've got the videos. We've got all the evidence there. Further, if we want to talk about the evidence respectfully, Mr. Farley instructed his girlfriend and or baby mother to dispose of a phone and dispose of a gun before we could get there. She didn't. We got it. So that's there. We've got Instagram.
He didn't. We got it. She didn't. We got it. They lying. No, they didn't. Remember when he played the? I don't know if y'all remember, but I played it before too. He played the tapes, and he was not even telling her to hide it from the police. He was telling her don't go through the phone. He was telling her just cut it off so he don't see messages about of him talking to other girls. The state is so janky, and I know they seen all that. Either they janky or they really like Dee.
Posts by Mr. Farley basically saying forever homicide. Now, that's not a clothing. That's in line with YSL gang, with other gang members. You know, he's got the tattoos. He can't hang around YSLs and falsely claim. He's got them, the tattoos, and he's hanging with other YSL members. So he's not falsely represented. He's in the video. He wants to say he's Mr. Lee's assistant. He's in the video throwing gang signs, armed with a weapon. I'm not sure if that's in his job description as an assistant. He is seen numerous times on Cleveland. They say he's raised on Cleveland. Raised on Cleveland is the name of the predecessor gang to YSL. That is a street gang. If people want to just say, oh, I was raised on Cleveland, that's a gang identifier, Judge. Slam or die.
Miss DB, what up?
He would not be the first criminal to try to make $1. Judge, the fact that he might have a clothing line on theirs, and I will say that for Mr. Williams also. Mr. Williams has made an interview that stated the gang pre-existed the record label. It pre-existed the clothing line. That's recorded statement by him. So anything that's marketing after that is an opportunity. I'm not saying they're not taking advantage of that. That doesn't mean they're not committing the original crimes. So just the fact that he is trying to make money off of selling something that is gang-related, that has got nothing to do whether it would commit offense. And I say this kind of left-handed respectfully. I know counsel didn't make an admission here, but he states the recording does show he's there on the scene at the time of the murder. It does. And it shows a lot more than that, Judge. He characterized the recordings. It's going to be for the jury to determine that. Judge, this is basically the same thing was presented to you on 523. You found false records. There's no reason, there's no evidence presented to change that ruling, Judge. We ask you to deny.
Okay, all right.
Yes, Your Honor.
You got a minute?
Yes, just a minute, Judge. I agree with a lot of what the state said. Yeah, making a clothing line and using artistic content doesn't connect you to crime, make you a criminal. Just like wearing a Scarface shirt or a Godfather shirt doesn't make you part of the mafia.
Right, and I had a Scarface picture. I should have put it right there. I had it on this stream too. I have it for something else that I'm making, but I should have put it on this stream. That would have been a perfect spot. Taylor Unbridge in the building. What's good? What's good, family? Appreciate you joining. Y'all show Taylor some love. What up, FFS? What's up, family?
It's art. What Mr. Williams is making is art. It's spread all over the world, and now Mr. Farley is a bystander, Judge. What the state didn't correct was that, yeah, he's on the BP video, not doing the things that the state proffered he was doing at the original bond hearing, Your Honor. We didn't have any of the discovery at that time. And this hashtag YSL, I mean, the word slime isn't even originated in Atlanta, Your Honor, as far as I know. I went around on the internet a little bit. There's a mixtape by VOD up in New York in 2009. It's called Slime Flu 2. And that predates a lot of this. So I think they're trying to just take advantage of this cultural term. Again, slime or die. It's just a play on words from vote or die, Your Honor. And it has nothing to do with whether or not someone's committed a crime. That's done through evidence. And the state still has not proffered anything beyond mere presence and mere association. The Forever Homicide, Your Honor, that's a song by Mr. Wani Lee, performed by the character Slime Life Shorty, where it's a play on words of homicide and homicide. I'm always by my homie's side, and it's just a little play on words with the word homicide. Mr. Farley, you heard from his principal, has never even been violent at school. Gang behavior begins sometimes at 12 years old, 13 years old. This is so out of the ordinary as an allegation. Who joins a gang when they're 24 years old and never even got in a fight at school, and yet they're a homicidal person that can't even get a bond when they're presumed innocent? So, Your Honor, this YSL has been hashtagged over 21 million times all time in Instagram. And so because Mr. Farley has a page that also has T.I. and Future on it, wearing his hats in addition to Mr. Williams, it's just not, there's still nothing now that we have the discovery, and now we also have an actual live witness, Ms. Ford, to correct the misstatements of the state in the prior bond hearing. And it's clear now that Mr. Farley is not a significant risk in any of the IL factors, and there are ways to mitigate these baseless allegations of witness tampering that he has nothing to do with and has been reported all this time. And if they have his phones and they have these incriminating things, and yet that's all they can still proffer, Your Honor, he definitely deserves a bond. It's just the conditions are at issue now, and we're willing to submit to any conditions from this court whatsoever, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Menendez and Mr. Geary and Mr. Farley. I've had an opportunity to reconsider the what has been proffered in this particular from the 523 hearing in this case. Mr. Menendez, I don't find any change in circumstances. I do agree with the state in this particular situation. At a minimum, your client still poses a threat to persons and property in the community and poses a threat to intimidate witnesses or otherwise obstruct administration of justice. So I'm going to deny bond at this point in time. He's still on trial for the 9th of January of 2023. And if you find any other motions, let me know, and we'll go ahead and hear those expeditiously, okay?
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Good to see you.
Denied.
Yes. Mr. Farley and Mr. Menendez, since you are here and the new indictment has in fact come out, Mr.
Hey, they was quick on that denial, but they got him up out of there and severed them quick once they pulled that bull that we showed earlier with that that illegal pill search. I mean, it wasn't illegal, but that false imprisonment, they knew he wasn't doing nothing wrong.
Mr. Menendez, would you like to go ahead and have me arraign your client on the re-indictment?
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine. I went ahead and filed a packet of consolidated motions.
Okay.
And all I can think of now is that in light of the bond denial, I do intend to join in Mr. Steele's speedy trial motion.
We'll file it, and we will move on it accordingly. But in terms of the indictment, 22 SC 1835 7-2, is it your desire to waive formal arraignment on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your
otherwise
Honor.
have the court enter a not guilty plea on behalf of your client, and for you to have at least 10 days upon the receipt of discovery to file any motions?
Yes, Judge. We waive formal arraignment, plead not guilty, and we would ask that in light of the massive amount of discovery and the several co-defendants that we be allowed 60 days till after the completion of discovery to particularize or file any.
I'll give you 30.
Okay.
Because I'm still planning on moving on this case on the 9th of January. So, and I believe you've been given some discovery already, correct? So this would just be updated discovery. They just re-indicted to, for other reasons. But I'll give you 30 additional days. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Then and then it'll remain on the 9 January 2023 calendar. Okay.
Understood.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. I'll see you on the 8th.
All right. Okay. All right. Mr. Farley, you can be excused at this point.
Yes, I think we were transparent with the court before that.
Again, this is like another one where it happened. This one was previous though. This was prior to that. And for those who don't know how to use the slime coins and whatnot, I put together a little something for y'all. So to make it a little easier with the slime coins, I might need to update some of the prompts as I update some of the stream effects, but here you go.
Peace to the family. Welcome to Flesh of the Gods. So you want to get your hands on some slime coins? No problem. Just jump into the chat, drop a message, and boom, you'll be gifted your first points. Now, if you want to see how many you've got, just type !slime coins in the chat, one word, no spaces, and you'll see your balance pop up in the chat. And when you're ready to redeem them, look up at the top of the screen for command prompts. The commands on the top left will alter the stream. The commands on the top right will summon puppets. You can donate via CashApp at $Versatile369 or the PayPal link in the video description. Thank you for tapping into the most interactive live stream. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support is greatly appreciated. Stay fresh and stay blessed, family.
Stay fresh and stay blessed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's always appreciated, family. We just gonna get right back into it. I appreciate the fire. Yeah, fire. Shout out to Jazzy T.
That Mr. Geary got the facts wrong. That happened. However, here's what he didn't get wrong. The jail calls are, I know Mr. Menendez, I respect him as, what he's saying, but the jail calls are patently different than what he's saying. It's clear based off these jail calls, the only reason we did not actually find the phone and did not actually find the gun were because Mr. Farley arranged to ensure that we never found those items due to ensuring the phone was disposed of, that one of the guns was taken to Farley's family members. That's really clear from the jail calls. And so that's first of all. Not just, I don't believe the court needs to actually hear the jail calls to make. I just wanted to rebut that first of all. Second of all, Your Honor, Farley is currently facing murder charges for the murder of Mr. Drinks. He was incarcerated for Mr. Drinks' murder prior to this indictment. That was a brutal murder by gang members in a rival, in a gang dispute, essentially. Farley was seen at a gas station immediately before the murder. He was wearing YSL apparel with the word slime on them. He was with his co-defendants that murder at the gas station. That's like immediately before the shooting. Additionally, evidence shows that Farley was at essentially a YSL trap house, like a house where they commit unlawful activities.
Real quick, let me send a shout out to Taylor Unbridge. I don't know if y'all seen it, but Taylor Unbridge was on TMZ. I seen you on there. Shout out to Taylor Unbridge doing a pop-up on TMZ. Y'all go to her channel and check out that clip. Show her some love and sub up.
Within about 48 hours after that shooting, it was so recent, this shooting, that one of the co-defendants actually was still wearing the same clothes as during the murder. The state also has evidence that shows that Farley has some access to a cell phone while he's within the Fulton County Jail. And I attach this to our motion as State's Exhibit A, if the court would has a copy of my omnibus motion I filed. It's attached to State's Exhibit A. It was located on, as recently as December 3rd of 2022. It was posted on an Instagram account that was named ysl.rude, and it showed a picture of Farley that appears to be, I don't know the legal term for it, but a selfie. It's where he's holding a camera and he's taking a picture of himself while displaying a middle finger. It appears that that photo was taken in the Fulton County Jail. Whoever created this post, presumably a YSL associate or sympathizer, posted this selfie of Farley with the comment, "Free the creator of Massa." I think, as Mr. Menendez agreed, Massa is the clothing line associated with YSL. It means the YSL slogan, "Make America Slime Again." Additionally, Farley's jail calls show that he has communicated with co-defendants through third parties. For example, he'd call a girlfriend of a co-defendant, they'd contact with that co-defendant. So for the reasons stated above, and additionally because the nature of this charge is a murder charge, in addition to all these gang charges, I participated in a very serious homicide, a shooting of a young man, only less than a year ago. We would ask that this court deny bond, but certainly we also would hope that the court will consider the jail calls as well, because I think that truly solidifies why Mr. Farley cannot have a bond. But additionally, Your Honor, there's been no change in circumstances, although the only difference between what Mr. Geary, he believed that the gun and the phone had been recovered. That was the only error. Other than that, everything he said was accurate, and the jail calls do reflect that Farley attempted to hide these items. He is charged for murder. And again, it does look like whether or not he currently has a cell phone in his possession, that photo being posted so recently of a selfie, it's not a picture that someone took of him. It's clearly that he took of himself while giving a middle finger. It's attached as Exhibit A in the jail. Would support the denial of bond, Your Honor.
Just the mere fact of facing a murder charge doesn't make you a bond risk. Otherwise, everyone that's presumed innocent and accused of murder wouldn't get a bond. And again, Judge, it's not YSL apparel. That's the part that Don Geary left unanswered last time. I don't want to get the state any ideas, but on the Make America Slime Again Instagram account, Mr. Williams is not the only one wearing the clothing. And Make America Slime Again has nothing to do with YSL explicitly. There's also artists like Future and T.I. on the Instagram wearing the same hat as Mr. Williams and that same shirt that Mr. Farley's wearing on the BP video, Your Honor. And the shirt says slime or die. It's just a play on words like trap or die. Your Honor, again, the state still by their proffer in a black and white way has failed to articulate.
Yeah, I was gonna say at first time I watched him backwards, so I thought he said that first when he said the trap or die, but I was like, why would he say trap or die? Why would he not say vote or die? But on the other one after this, he did say vote or die, but I played that one first, so yeah, it's kind of mixed up.
Any party to any crime. If you listen carefully to what Ms. Rosenwasser just said, all she talked about was presence and association. He's at the BP. He's with these people afterwards. He's wearing a shirt that has the word slime on it. Your Honor, Make America Slime Again is an LLC. It's an official company. It has nothing to do with just YSL. It was Mr. Farley's attempt to get any proximity to any artist of any kind of attention when attention is such a commodity these days, especially for the clothing business. And if you notice too, the shirts that Mr. Wani Lee is wearing in his videos, because Mr. Farley and him are close friends from since they can even remember, and he is his personal assistant paid by Alamo Records in an official way. Mr. Wani Lee is also wearing shirts from a different clothing line. I think it was True Detail or something like that, and it's some relative or other person that he's trying to put on. So, Your Honor, this is not YSL apparel. This is a person, an entrepreneur who is close to Wani Lee, has a business relationship with him, and then networks with musicians and other types of people to make his clothing more visible. And so, Your Honor, again, there's just presence, there's just association, and as far as access to a phone, that doesn't show anything. It shows that he's on the phone in the jail, but it doesn't mean that it was his phone. It doesn't mean that he posted it. that account that did the story wasn't him. You can reshare stories. You can post stories of other people. So just like when we had that proffer about Mr. Kitchens where someone said, oh, I'll do anything for Gunna. If someone wants to post something with an image that they somehow got because a camera from a gyro phone was on Mr. Farley for a second and took a picture of him giving the middle finger, okay, he didn't decide to post that. He didn't decide to someone say free him or anything like that, Your Honor. So again, I don't see how being in a phone image makes you a risk on any of the bond factors, Judge.
I'll listen to the.
Okay.
They saying she's saying that he's a risk of bond or flight risk, and he shouldn't be able to be out of jail because he took a picture in jail. They find any and everything to use against you, and of course, you already know Glanville. What he gonna say? Of course, I agree with the state. I agree with the state.
Can't make this stuff up. Another day, another incident. Let me tell you, it all unfolded this morning inside the courthouse. Here's what we can tell you. During a security checkpoint, that's when deputies arrested defense attorney Anastasios Menendez. Investigators say he was arrested on 2 counts of prescription drugs, not in its original container. We're not sure if they were his prescription drugs. We're still working to find that out. We also know he was arrested on 1 count of obstruction, 1 count of simple battery on a law enforcement officer. More on that in a moment. Now, first, another thing we want to discuss is we're getting an exclusive look at the body camera video from yesterday's incident involving Redalius Ryan. Investigators say Ryan came into court smelling like marijuana. And so as you can see with this body cam footage, they bring him in the back of the courtroom. The back of the courtroom outside, and when they performed a strip search on him during this, you hear Ryan screaming for help. But I've watched this video.
So we remember when that happened, and I remember the lawyer being arrested. But did y'all know that they was back to back? Like this happened one day, and then the pill thing with the lawyer happened the next day after this.
In its entirety, at no point did you see officers using excessive force. They eventually found a bag of marijuana sewn into his underwear. Now, his father watched the video too and told me he has no idea how his son got that marijuana. Now, back to that attorney who was arrested. Here's what the sheriff told me minutes after that arrest.
We've created a secondary checkpoint because we've had problems over the last couple of weeks with contraband, with defendants ending up with contraband. So long story short is we've implemented some new security procedures, including a secondary checkpoint. And at that checkpoint, one of the attorneys had some...
It's slime coins, no space, slime coins, C-O-I-N-S.
Contraband, as well as ended up throwing a cell phone at one of my captains.
Yeah, and as we're on the air right now, I'm getting an update from inside the courtroom. So that attorney was representing one of the defendants, Miles Farley. He was one of the 14 defendants in this case. Apparently now, Judge Glanville.
Miles Farley, Judge Glanville, Suge Knight,
has chosen to sever that defendant, which basically means he'll be tried in a new trial. So now.
Yeah, see that? So he got severed right there. That immediately after that, I think that's part of the reason why they did that. They was looking for a reason to get him up out of there, because he wasn't gonna be putting up with that mess. I think he would have been a beast in the courtroom, like questioning some of the witnesses and cross-examining stuff. I think he would have been a beast. Jimenez or whatever his name is. I think he would have been a beast. So.
Now we are down to 13 defendants who are standing trial.
In East Point, Georgia.
Yes.
And why did you respond to that location?
Undercover officers got behind the white Audi A5 with this Maryland tag 8E.
I'm going to object to A, hearsay, but also to the witness reading off the report.
Sustained. Okay. Without reading off of the report, why did you respond to the location?
Undercover officers got behind a white Audi A5 with Mr. Jackson being the driver, leaving Chick-fil-A. He was a suspect of an incident that occurred the day before.
Tat, tat, tat. Appreciate it, family.
How do you may. Let me first ask you, when you responded to the incident at Waters Road on March 16th, was there
That was the cameraman. That wasn't me on that zoom in right there. That was the cameraman.
anyone arrested at the Waters Road incident that you responded to?
No.
Okay. When you responded to the Waters Road incident, were the individuals there considered victims in that case on March 16, 2022?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said that you had gotten behind the white vehicle because Mr. Jackson was a suspect. You said in the day before. Was he a suspect in the incident that happened on March 14th, 2022, a homicide?
Oh, yes. March 14th, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once you, let me ask you this. Did you ever make it to the location in East Point, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. What happened once you arrived at the location?
I walked to the rear where officers detained 2 individuals, and I picked up a skull cap and a backpack.
Where was the skull cap in the book bag when you recovered those items?
In the bushes directly behind the house.
And
that would be the right
house,
front,
was that a
the
residential home?
right left, excuse me, the right left side, front.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Once you recovered the book bag, did you look inside of the bag?
Yes.
What, if anything, was inside of the bag?
Narcotics.
Once you looked inside the book bag, what, if anything, did you do with the book bag and the narcotics inside of the book bag?
I held on to it until I was instructed to hand it over to another investigator.
What investigator?
Investigator Belknap.
And then did Investigator Belknap take control and custody of the book bag along with the narcotics?
Yes.
Permission to approach around?
You may.
The evidence is going to show that anything
marked as 201 BV and 200 BV. Some may be recognizable 201 BV, and you can look inside the contents before pulling it out. Just look inside of 200 VV.
Yes, I recognize.
And first, starting with 201 BV, how do you recognize 201 BV?
This is the backpack recovered in the bushes behind the house.
And is that the book bag that had the narcotics in it?
Yes.
And now looking at 200 VV, how do you recognize 200 VV?
This is the recovered.
And do they appear to be in the same or similar condition as when you found them back on March 17th, 2022?
Yes.
At this time, the state would like to admit 200 VV and 201 VV into evidence.
No objection.
All right, those are admitted.
And permission to publish.
You may.
And that was the hat that you found outside.
Yes.
All right. Now I'm going to pull back up 168 VV and next to State's Exhibit 116 VV at 217. Looking at State's Exhibit 116 VV, which is on your right-hand side, and 168 VV, which is on your left. Do you see the item that's on Mr. Farley's head?
Yes.
Do you see a similar looking item in his pocket on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Court's indulgence for one moment.
Police Court. Investigator Flores, good afternoon. My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Seems like we got 3 different dates to talk about. March 14th,
14th.
March 16th, March 17th.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to go from one to the other to stay organized here.
All right, I got you.
Let's start with the last one first, March 17th.
Okay.
Okay? That was the day that my client, Mr. Stillwell, you said Mr. Jackson, we're talking about the same person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the day he was arrested on warrants for the March 14th homicide, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you talked about, you talked about people were following or pursuing the car to this address that you responded to. Were you part of the pursuit?
No.
Okay. The car that was located on Meadowlark Drive where Mr. Stillwell was arrested was a white Audi, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The same white Audi that was present on March 16th?
Correct.
And the same white Audi that he is alleged to have used in a horrible crime on March 14th. Correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, you indicated that you found a book bag with drugs or narcotics in them, correct?
Correct.
And that was in some bushes at that Meadowlark Drive address, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Present at the address.
So that was that pink bag. Remember when they was running and they had the helicopter up there and they were showing Quay and Stillwell running? I believe they talking about from that time.
Address was Mr. Stillwell, but also another individual by name of Cormarvius Nichols, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you see who had control of that book bag?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that, do you know what Atlanta Phoenix, APD Phoenix is?
Yes.
That's helicopters, correct?
Yeah.
That can follow pursuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware if APD Phoenix, let me ask you this, do they record from the air?
Yes.
Are you aware if APD Phoenix?
You gotta see the dots. You gotta see the dots. It say allegedly, maybe. Why? Shout out to FFS.
On video, who discarded the book bag full of narcotics into the bushes?
Yes.
Okay. Was it Mr. Stillwell?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Your understanding is that Mr. Nichols was also in the Audi on the way to that Meadowlark Drive address, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it would certainly be illegal for Mr. Nichols or Mr. Stillwell, for that matter, to be in possession of narcotics in a book bag, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Was Mr. Stillwell charged with those narcotics?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Y'all talking about sake now? I want some.
All right. I'd like to move back to the first date, March 14th, 2022. You were present at the scene on Windsor Street that night, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You were called to the scene. Who called you to the scene?
Dispatch.
Okay. What time did you arrive at the scene?
Oof. I don't remember.
Okay. Did you write any reports regarding your work on the night of March 14, 2022?
I believe it was an internal memo.
Where are your
With no report.
police reports? Okay. Now, when you arrived, there was a deceased gentleman in a red Versa, correct?
That would be the right front, the right left, excuse me, the right left side. Front.
Okay, all right. You did not recognize the deceased when you arrived, did you?
No.
Okay. You were a gang investigator for APD since 2020, correct?
Correct.
Your focus is on the gangs of Atlanta, the members within those gangs, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you did not recognize Mr. Shamal Drinks?
Correct.
Okay, in fact, later on in that night, law enforcement had to use a GBI scanner to use his fingerprints to determine his identity, correct?
No, I believe his ID was on scene.
Okay. Either way, you did not recognize it?
No.
Now, the state just had you compare some photos of Mr. Stillwell and also of Mr. Miles Farley, correct? Remember that? Side by sides?
Yeah.
Okay, you recognize the left part of those side by sides as being from the BP surveillance from March 14th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that was the night of the Shamal Drinks homicide.
Correct.
On that surveillance, you identified, I think just now, Mr. Stillwell wearing a hoodie and a pink hat, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's move to to March 16th of 2022. Okay. You respond to 2830 Waters Road, correct?
Correct.
All right, and let's just be clear. You responded and located Mr. Stillwell. I don't know if you located him, but Mr. Stillwell was at the residence, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you and other law enforcement strictly viewed him as a victim for March 16th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The incident involved someone shooting at that house repeatedly.
Correct.
Okay. And by the time you arrived, Mr. Stillwell was in the back of a police car.
Correct.
Okay. Wearing the exact same clothes from the BP video, or at least the exact same hoodie and distinctive pink hat.
Correct.
Okay. When you arrived, you sought to speak to Mr. Stillwell. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. He was not under arrest.
No.
He was detained as a victim.
Correct.
Okay. He was not legally obligated to answer your questions.
Correct.
Okay. And you asked him questions about March 16th? What had happened?
Correct.
Okay, and you said he didn't provide any information, but in fact he said he was present and people shot at the house. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. But importantly, you asked him what car he was driving, correct?
Not he was driving. I asked him what car was his.
Okay, you asked him what car was his. And this is 2 days after you are alleging, you being the police, he used a white Audi in a homicide.
I don't think that was known at that time.
Is there not video at the BP?
I don't think that was collected the night of the incident.
Okay. Well, you asked him 2 days after a homicide that the police are accusing him of, what car is his? And he is not legally obligated to answer any of your questions, is he?
Correct.
And he told you, while wearing the exact same hoodie and exact same hat that he was wearing in that BP video, he told you that white Audi is mine, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't hide that fact.
No.
Besides those 3 days, was that all the work you did on this case?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Stop. Stop. Allegedly, maybe in the voice of the ASAP Rocky trial.
The final pleas for those people. Are there any?
So now we're gonna go ahead and get into his plea agreement. This is the Miles Farley plea agreement, his final plea. That should have made him not want to get in no more trouble and move up out of Atlanta. But obviously he didn't, and we'll see how it goes from here. But this is the one right here. This is the agreement he made.
Guilty pleas that are going to be tendered today by any of the attorney, via any of the defendants.
Yes, Your Honor. Anastasia Smith on behalf of Mr. Miles Farley, and we have a plea agreement support.
All right, why don't y'all come on up to the podium, please?
Late night baking with Mookie. Mookie in the building. What's good, family? I see you. Let me blaze out.
All right, Mr. Body, whenever you're ready. And everybody, I'm just going to give a reminder to just use the mics that are in front of you, and they're mobile, so you can move them up close so that everybody can hear.
This is indictment number 22 SC 183572, State of Georgia versus Mr. Miles Farley. Mr. Farley, if you'll please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear and affirm that testimony about to give the matters pending.
Hold on. Before we get into that, I gotta cut his voice up anyway. Even though she just said, make sure you're talking to Mike, and he did the exact opposite. He said, bump your microphone. But hold on, let me mute. I got a call. Okay, my bad. Yeah, for always, for life. Said, somebody please tell me what the right left side is. Yeah. That's the car. He asked her what side of the car was she hit from the bean incident, the flying car incident, when he hit the police car. He asked her what side of the car was she hit, and she said the back side. And then after she said the back side, it just went all over the place. It left side, front side, right side, once she saw the picture.
That would be the right front, the right left, excuse me, the right left side. Front.
Okay, all right.
See, it was the bottom right side, but she said the left back, left passenger or something. Left, right, passenger, front, bumper.
Before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, sir? Yes, sir. Hey, put your hand down. Could you please state your true, correct, and legal name for the record? I'll let you sign before I ask you more questions.
And Mr. Body, maybe reposition the mic while he's doing that.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Farley, could you state your true, correct, and legal name for the record? Farley. And Mr. Farley, are you at this time taking under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine? No. Is there any medication that you take daily or regularly that you have not taken today that would affect your ability to understand why you're here? No. And how old are you, sir? And how far have you gone in school?
26. I got a bachelor's degree.
And are you able
Can
to...
you also speak into the mic, please?
26 and got a bachelor's degree.
And so are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
And do you understand you are charged in indictment number 22 SC 183572 with count 1, conspiracy to violate RICO, count 49, which is related to the homicide of Mr. Drinks, counts 50 and 51, which are both participation in criminal street gang activity, and then count 54, which is a possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony. You understand you're currently charged or indicted with those counts?
Yes.
And do you understand that you have the right to plead either not guilty, guilty or not guilty to these charges, and if you pled not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial?
Yes.
And has your attorney, Mr. Menendez, gone over the rights that you're waiving by taking a guilty plea here today, sir?
Yes.
And are you satisfied with the services that your attorney has provided?
Yes.
And do you need any additional time to talk to your counsel about any of the facts and circumstances regarding the charges and the circumstances of this case?
No.
And Mr. Menendez, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
So waived.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including any with respect to your client's name for the purposes of this hearing or plea?
That's crazy that they throw that in there. Every time I hear that, I'll be tripping off that. Do you waive any and all defects? Like, what you mean? There's defects in there? What kind of defects y'all got?
Yes, so waived. And Mr. Farley, has your attorney spoken to you about the minimum and maximum penalty for the counts that you're pleading guilty to?
Yes.
And he advised that for count 1, RICO, the minimum is 5 years, the maximum is 20 years?
Yes.
And do you have any questions as it relates to that count, the single count that you'll be pleading guilty to?
No.
And sir, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state and your counsel will offer a joint recommendation to the court as to the sentencing recommended for the count that you're pleading guilty to, but the court does not have to follow that recommendation, and she can sentence you as she sees fit up to the maximum for the charge?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Is he just pleading to count 1 and y'all are null processing the rest as a part of the agreement?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Now, do you understand? Mr. Farley, do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing of other convictions in this jurisdiction, as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal court? Yes. And do you also understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, regardless of any advice given to you by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses by entering a plea of guilty here today, sir?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up or waiving the following rights? The right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and to not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or court appointed if you are unable to afford an attorney for the trial of your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and to compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges proved against you beyond a reasonable doubt by the state of Georgia, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after trial. You understand by taking a guilty plea here today that you're waiving or giving up all of those rights?
Yes.
And Mr. Farley, has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea here today?
No.
And are you pleading guilty, sir, because you have decided in speaking with your counsel, Mr. Menendez, that you believe that it is in your best interest to do so?
Yes.
And are you aware that even if you're not admitting guilt, as you're pleading under North Carolina versus Alfred, if the court accepts this plea of guilty, places you in the same position as if you were convicted after a jury trial?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you plead to count one, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act in indictment number 22 SC 183572?
Guilty on the Alfred.
And Mr. Farley, is this Alfred guilty plea free?
You make sure they slide that under Alfred thing under there, because they be trying to cheat you later on if you don't got it on paper. But that's crazy, though. He said he pled guilty under Alfred, so that's what got him messed up right now, because he didn't go to trial. He should have took it to trial, but, you know, everybody got their own circumstances. You don't know if it was a money situation or what, but, man, he would have had a better chance if he would have took it to trial, though. He would have got off.
And voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charge that you're pleading guilty to?
Yes.
And you understand that you may have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you also understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Challenging anything about the constitutionality of the guilty plea, understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I want to make sure he
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Do you also understand, sir, that you have 30 days from today to file a direct appeal from this guilty plea, and until the end of this term of court to file a motion seeking to withdraw this guilty plea, which doesn't mean that the court necessarily would grant it or not. It's just that's the time constraints that you have to file under those areas of the law.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay.
All right, and your attorney, Mr. Menendez, will represent you until 30 days from now or the last day of this term of court, whichever is later, and he would be the one to file any of those things on your behalf unless he is allowed to withdraw before that time. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And just so the record's clear, I just provided to Ms. Percival the indictment, which was signed by all parties as it relates to the defendant's guilty plea to count one conspiracy to commit RICO. Your Honor, had this case proceeded to trial, the state would have shown beyond a reasonable doubt that between January 24th of 2013 and May 8th of 2022, this defendant, Mr. Farley, in conjunction with his fellow co-defendants, co-conspirators, known YSL associates, did unlawfully conspire to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the enterprise YSL. In doing so, they did it through a pattern of racketeering activity, conducting and participating in YSL with the same common objectives, which were to preserve, protect, and enhance the reputation of the enterprise, that being YSL, doing so by protecting the power and territory of known YSL strongholder areas through acts of violence, also through other means such as social media, posting messages, images, and things of that nature. That's what the state would have shown as it relates to Mr. Farley and his involvement as it relates to the enterprise YSL and his association, Your Honor.
All right, I assume at least some of the evidence would have been the same as or similar to what was presented at the trial of some of the co-defendants that just was...
Well, that coming soon is obviously not supposed to be there. It got slid over during the editing. It was supposed to be on the commercial part.
Completed a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, Your Honor, very much.
All right, so I'll take that into consideration with regard to the factual basis as well. All right, anything else from the state?
Nothing further. The recommendation as it relates to, or the joint recommendation that the parties would make to the court, it's my understanding that the defendant obviously would like to tender his plea under North Carolina versus Alford. And I neglected to ask Mr. Farley, but it's also my understanding he qualifies for the first offender or treatment, and he is asking.
Hold on. No, I didn't hear about that. Allegedly said, y'all heard about that girl that graduated suing her county because she graduated without being able to read and write. I BS you not. Hell no, I ain't heard about that.
Treat him as a first offender, which the state has no objection to either, and the recommendation will be 5 years to be served on probation.
All right. Mr. Farley, has your attorney discussed with you the First Offender Act and what all that means?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And have you all discussed the potential upsides and downsides of that?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that if you successfully complete, if I sentence you in accord with what has been negotiated, if you successfully complete the probationary time without having any violations of your probation, that at the end of that, you would not be a convicted felon. Understand?
So right there, he agreeing that he automatically could get 5 years for whatever charge he get, any trouble he get, any violation of probation. If they come back, it's up to her. It's her discretion, but she could give him a minimum of up to 5 years. I don't know how, if it's minimum or max or whatever, but she could definitely give him that 5 years remaining because he ain't even complete 1 year yet.
All right, you understand as well that if you do not successfully complete that probationary period and your probation is revoked, then not only could you be revoked for that 5 years.
My bad, I paused it. I did not mean to hit that laugh. I'm going to have to change that key. I keep on hitting that by accident.
But the court could actually adjudicate you guilty, find you guilty, not under first offender, but just straight guilty, and impose up to 20 years imprisonment for the count to which you are pleading guilty under Alford. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Menendez, is there anything else that the defense would like to place on the record?
Yes, Judge. I just want to add a little bit of nuance to the plea in case the court's not as familiar, because a lot of it was on the front end. Mr. Farley is an HBCU graduate with no criminal record, and it's actually his marketing and his genius work as a businessman that even brought him into all of this, which is why we're asking the court to sentence us under Alford. In 2019, him and a friend created a clothing item, a hat that was like a satirical play on the Trump hat where it said "Make America Slime Again" instead of "Make America Great Again." And, Your Honor, the clothing brand never said anything about YSL. It was just using this youth term, slime, which I'm sure by now the court knows can have many different meanings in many different contexts. Mr. Farley is born and raised in the Cleveland Avenue area, and he does exemplify a lot of the great qualities of the people of that area, his creativity, intelligence, tenacity, his bravery in taking things this far, Your Honor, putting his foot down when he was faced with this, government abuse. But what he did next, Your Honor, is he went to Miles College, and then despite having a vast network of opportunity from his bachelor's degree in business, he returned home because he is a family person. His dad is here in the yellow hoodie in the back. He's also an entrepreneur. That's where Miles gets a lot of that from. And so, Your Honor, when Mr. Farley made this clothing brand, he built off of the hat. In 2020, he made an LLC for Make America Slime Again, and he's actually employed by a record label to be a handler for musical artists. And then he used those associations and that presence to promote his brand.
Hold on, he a handler? What kind of handler? Like a P. Diddy party type handler, or just a question?
And to have his clothing be as visible as possible. He started making custom pieces for different artists and different people. And Your Honor, if you remember from the evidence that was presented, Mr. Farley's always wearing his own clothing, and he's only ever promoted his clothing for the purpose of himself and his business and his family. And so that's why, Your Honor, I think the most sincere and appropriate way to resolve this case is under Alford. The state, in that respect, did the right thing with its discretion, dropping the murder case. Mr. Farley had nothing to do with the death of Mr. Drinks. And so, Judge, he's been on house arrest. He's been totally compliant. He's not a gang member. He's never committed a crime in his entire life. But he is wearing an ankle monitor. He is confined to his home.
It would have been better off if he didn't get severed for him. He should have stayed as part of the case and took that shit the motherfucking trial. Yeah, yeah.
It's better than jail, but I think we all know after COVID that that's not necessarily ideal. And he just doesn't want to go to trial. And that's why I think Alford is a textbook case for this type of situation. And so if the court has any questions, we just ask this honorable court to accept the plea as negotiated.
Okay, well, I mean, you know, it would be determined by a jury at trial whether his involvement in the case is only because of his marketing and business acumen or something further than that, something criminal. But in tendering a guilty plea under Alford, Mr. Farley, you are admitting that while you do not believe you have committed the crime of conspiracy to violate the RICO Act, you are acknowledging that there is sufficient evidence that the state could present to a jury from which a jury could conclude that you are guilty of that crime. You understand that, right?
Yes.
All right. All right. I find there to be a factual basis for this plea. I will accept it under Alford, and I'll permit it under the First Offender Act. And I find the plea to be freely, knowingly, voluntarily, intelligently entered with an understanding of the consequences and in accord with the negotiation.
Hey, that's a fact right there. I ain't holding it against them. I mean, everybody got their own situations, and you never know. You know, you ain't in their shoes, so I can't speak for them. But, yeah, it just would have been better for him. But, I mean, you know, in the long run. But I don't know, you know, what other circumstances that he might have been in that might have messed up. But and he also got sued in court too. I got some of that paperwork. I don't know if I think it's coming up in a little while. But yeah.
Recommendation, I am going to sentence you to 5 years probation. And as we discussed before, how you perform during the next 5 years of this probation is going to determine whether you finish that. A person who can say that they do not have any felony conviction, or whether you might be spending some time potentially incarcerated. So it's entirely up to you how you comport yourself and how you choose to behave going forward. What ultimately will happen at or before the end of that 5 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are there any special conditions to this probation? Have y'all negotiated any?
The state didn't have any real special conditions, obviously, other than follow the law.
Okay. All right. Well, that is the sentence of the court. I need to ask if you have a weapons carry license. Do you have a license? Okay.
No.
All right, that's fine. And while you cannot have any firearms during the course of your probation, if you successfully complete all your probation, you'd be able to possess firearms again. All right, Mr. Farley.
Well, we all know that didn't happen.
Good luck to you. I know that you have a very successful business, and let's just make sure that that business is on the up and up and that you are following the law. Mm-hmm. All right, good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And is there somebody here from probation?
If you would.
Shout out to No One on the track. Yo, we got the award show coming up soon. If y'all would like to participate in the award show, slide in my DM or my email or something. Let me know what you would like to do as part of the award show. It don't matter what it is. It could be your own idea. You can play a voice. You can pick a person that you want to be nominated. A couple different things. I'll have some more options coming up soon, but y'all stay tuned for that. probably around April. I'm gonna try to have it ready, so I would like y'all to participate. Shout out to no one on the track in the background. Appreciate you, family. So let me see what we got right here. Oh, we already read that one. When questioned about the firearm, neither Mr. Greer nor Mr. Farley claimed ownership, both stating that they were unaware of its presence inside the vehicle. A criminal history check was conducted on both individuals along with the status inquiry of the firearm. The firearm was found to be not on file. However, the background check revealed that Mr. Farley was currently on first offender probation following a conviction for violating the Georgia RICO Racketeering, Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act on December 17, 2024 in Fulton County Superior Court. What? Oh, that must be the phone charge. December 17th. Officer Diaz Taylor read Mr. Farley his Miranda rights. Let me move this because it's blocked by my cracked screen. Okay, Mr. Farley read his where was I? Miranda rights. Okay, which he acknowledged and voluntarily waived, agreeing to speak without his attorney present. When asked about the firearm, Mr. Farley denied any knowledge of it, or involvement with firearms. However, Mr. Farley was seated in the front passenger seat directly adjacent to it. Who wrote this? And within arm's reach of the glove compartment where the firearm was located, given its close proximity and ease of access. Plus, y'all know I can't read. It was determined that Mr. Farley had constructed possession of the firearm, further supporting this conclusion. Mr. Greer later offered to take responsibility of the firearm. Mr. Farley released an action strongly. Mr. Greer, they ain't talking about Quantavious Greer. That's Thug brother. I know he been in jail. Dang, that's super small. I can't read that. It's the affidavit. I have to do another video because that's too small. I ain't gonna be able to read that, and it's too long. Let me see. I'll do a brief. Let me see if I can scoot up. The individuals and their roles within the gang. Okay. Mr. Farley has a criminal history. Young Slime Life. The gang is Young Slime Life. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna have to come back and read that because that's super small. If y'all wanna see it at the end, I'll zoom in and pull it up and read some of that. But I don't wanna be stutter stepping trying to read that small stuff. That's the last page. It's 3 pages. So if y'all wanna read it, I can later. I'll just read the titles. Criminal Street Gang Activity. Oh, it's only one title. Farley. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I know it's gonna be that small. This is his charges right here with him. I could blow him up on this screen though. Hold on, let me do this. I could blow it up. Hold on. Here we go, like this. Okay. Farley. I still can't see that. Murder, no prost. Participation in criminal street gang activity, no prost. This was the original case. This is the 5 years probation that he got, the first offender. Alright, let me play that. Order denying defendant's plea and bar and motion to dismiss. He tried to get it dismissed. This was 12/10/24, so this was in December. Upon consideration of defendant's plea and bar and motion to dismiss based on statutory speedy trial demand and constitutional speedy trial rights include a review of the record. The court finds that defendant's demand for speedy trial was in fact dismissed via court order of May 14, 2024 as untimely, contrary to what is noted and defined in defendant's filings. Defendant's plea and bar and motion to dismiss is therefore denied. Where am I denied at? Oh, I can't do it while I'm on this screen, huh? Alright, we here now.
Denied. Denied.
Let's keep it rolling. My bad, I forgot I'm on the big screen, so now I can't switch screens. Alright. What was that? Hold on. Order of no pros. Nole prosecute. How you say that? Nole prosecute is hereby entered on the above style indictment of the following reason. For the following reason. On August, all the defendants in the above style case were indicted in the Fulton County Superior Court case for the offense arising out of the same indictment and the same investigation as the offense charges. So yeah, this was just talking about how they got no pros for the gang charges. I believe it was the gang charges. Okay, state's motion to no pros and to adopt. Okay, yeah. So what was this though? Hold on, let me see. Let me scoop this up so we can see the full thing, because I got it zoomed in. Look at this right here, right? What they had under seal. It is now the order of this court that the documents contained in this envelope shall be filed under seal. This envelope shall not be opened until further order of this court on appeal. This was before the no pros though. So before the no pros, they put something under seal. So I don't know if he was snitching or telling or giving up some information, and maybe he didn't hold up on it, or I don't know what happened, but yeah, that was placed under seal, whatever that was. Wait, hold on, let me see what date it was. That date was the 18th of July, 2022. Court production order, Fulton County Special Management Unit. I think this was oh, that's Eppinger. That's Eppinger. That shouldn't be in there. That's Farley. What did it say? Let me scoot closer. Plea and bar, motion to dismiss based on statutory speedy trial demand and constitutional speedy trial rights. Comes now the defendant, Mr. Farley, is innocent. On November 29th, Mr. Farley, attorney. So basically, he was just trying to fight that. They were supposed to get the speedy trial. Eventually, this suspension came to an end on April 23rd, 2023. Was wrongfully any possible cause. So 2023 was supposed to be the end of their speedy trial date. April of 2023 was supposed to be the end of their speedy trial date, or was it January? Speedy trial on or around January 4th, 2023. Eventually, this suspension came to an end, and the state began its trial against Mr. Farley in compliance with his demand for speedy trial on or around January 4th, 2023. Oh, I got it blocked off. I can't even see that part of it. What was that? State's motion to specially set case for trial for remaining defendants. Oh, that was before the last court date we seen with the. That was before what we just watched when he took the plea. So this is right here. This is where they suing them. Let me see if I can zoom in so I can see some of this. It's a company suing them, and they actually won already. They got granted the order. so they were suing him. Let's see. That's just the paperwork, but hold on, it's more of it. Complaint contract comes now, plaintiff. So this them right here, Westlake Services. Defendant Miles Farley opened and made use of consumer loan with the plaintiff, Westlake Services. So he had a loan. Let me move this thing so I can see. He had a loan. There we go, $14,362, and then they got granted the because he didn't show up in court. I don't know why he didn't show up in court, but he didn't show up in court. So. Granting default judgment. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. They got granted the default judgment. So they won that case. Now he owed them $15,000. That's the default judgment paperwork right there.
Most did not believe that the gun was fake. So, according to prosecutors, they should have convicted. But the jurors said that the actual
look, she thought ASAP was going to jail, right?
evidence of the gun crime
She owed 50 that how much? 500,000?
just wasn't there, and that according to the jury instructions that they followed, they really did not feel like they could convict. And that, I think a lot of criminal defense attorneys would say that is the definition of a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, right. I know A$AP Rocky's had a really busy year. Not only is he scheduled to headline the Rolling Loud Music Festival, he's a celebrity co-chair of the Met Gala, and he has a new movie coming out with Denzel Washington. Is all of this behind him now, or do you see more fallout potentially from this case as he moves forward?
I think it's behind him. I don't think he's going to have any fallout from this. There are lawsuits. Really, it does have a...
They didn't ask her about that 50 thing, though. But the thing is, though, that Twitter or whatever it was that they did that post, it's not a legal betting platform, so they ain't like sign no signatures and agree or nothing. So he can't really go after her, but he control her and mess with her a lot, though. That's a fact.
A defamation and a lawsuit over the shooting that I think it still remains to be seen what exactly happens.
And so I know y'all heard about them trying to lock up Lil Baby, which is crazy because he wasn't even... I mean, I don't know, because at first I thought he wasn't there, but then I did see something else. I got it on here too where... that his video shoot got shot up. So I didn't know that. I thought that I didn't know his video shoot got shot up. So that kind of changed things. But let's see, we'll get into it.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate you all coming out here today, as you always do, as a strong partner, making sure we have a safe Atlanta, Georgia. I'm joined today by our actually very brand new Special Agent in charge of the Atlanta field office, Paul Brown. Welcome, sir. I believe this is your first week here in Atlanta. Yes, sir. Glad to have you with us, already hitting the ground running, and the long-standing support the Atlanta Police Department has had from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Also joined today by Major Pete Malecki, who is the commander of our Major Crime Section, as well as Major Ralph Wolfhook, who oversees our Violent Crime Interdiction Section. The last time we gathered here as a police department with the media, we were asking for help from the community to be able to bring to custody the murders of two 13-year-olds in our city. I met just a moment ago with the mother of one of those young men, Michelle Freeman, and we were talking about the journey she's been on. The morning that she lost her son, 13-year-old friend of his, and an 11-year-old that was injured that day. And they were celebrating a birthday party when gang violence and gun violence found its way to Spark Street. And Ms. Freeman knows that she has the condolence and the support of the Atlanta Police Department. It was there on July the 2nd and it continues today. And we made a commitment when we stood before you last time on Spark Street that we were going to identify the murders in that case. And not only were we going to identify the murderers in that case, we were going to bring them to justice. And we're here today to give you an update on everyone being brought to justice that committed those crimes. Those crimes were just not against the Freeman family or the Davis family. Those crimes were not just against the Oakland City community or here on Spark Street. These crimes were against all of Atlanta. Because when gun violence touches this neighborhood and can claim the lives of two 13-year-olds, it touches every Atlanta neighborhood. And since those early morning hours, this police department has not tired in identifying who committed those crimes and bringing them to justice. And I want to acknowledge a number of the units that have been working since that morning and that have not stopped. Our homicide team, our gang unit, an analyst working out of public safety headquarters, the district attorney's office, and the FBI. And these individuals that committed the crime here on July 2nd were dangerous individuals that, if allowed to remain free on the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, were going to use guns again to harm. These individuals cannot just be taken off the street without risk to law enforcement. And thanks to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, our Apex unit, our ACE unit, and our fugitive units, we have taken into custody the last two individuals that we have sought for this horrible crime. And
don't talk about them Apex. You already know about that.
we couldn't do that without the community. Because if you remember the last time we were here, we were going door to door on every home in this neighborhood asking for the community support. So for everyone that has provided a tip, that has called Crime Stoppers, for everyone that has worked with our investigators, I want to thank you. Because everyone has a role in keeping Atlanta safe. I'm going to turn the microphone now over to the special agent in charge of the FBI field office. And Zach Brown, I do want to thank you for all the work that your team has been providing. Long before you arrived in the city, we've had a strong partnership with the FBI. And for us to be able to stand here and tell the Atlantans we have removed 2 more dangerous murders off the street, we want to thank you for your role in making that happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm Paul Brown, the special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta's division. And it's first and foremost, I want to offer my deepest condolences to the Davis and Freeman families. No family should have to bury their 13-year-old children. The FBI is here as part of our joint efforts with the Atlanta Police and other law enforcement partners to solve cases just like this. The FBI assisted this case. It's part of our ongoing commitment to APD to combat violent crime and gang violence that's plaguing our communities. Everyone should feel safe and secure in their community and their homes. FBI Atlanta's violent crimes and gang squads work every day with APD and our other law enforcement partners in concert, and through our Atlanta Metro Major Offenders Task Force and through our Atlanta Safe Streets Task Force to get violent criminals like Tredon, Crawford, and Ali Caldwell off the streets.
Oh, my bad, family. I was supposed to be talking about the little baby part right there, but I'm over here checking my audio. My fault. But yeah, that's crazy too. They trying to get him, but the thing is that about the little baby thing though is that how you gonna lock him up
on my way to deliver a burrito, and they just came boop 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 boop. Like,
how you gonna lock him up for getting shot at and say that it's his fault for shooting a music video and such and such? Like, you know, they basically don't try to bring him in and for questioning, but I don't think they could actually use none of that stuff against him, though. I don't know, but I don't think so.
I was on my way to deliver a burrito, and they just came boop 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 boop. Like, I was in so much shock. Like, are you serious? It was really crazy.
So you fell, you started running?
I fell in between the bullets. It was nothing but bullets, pop, 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 pop. Okay. Yeah, it was terrible.
At least 25 shots fired.
It was just a concert. I was waiting for little baby to come by my tacos up.
Chastity Hill says she got caught in the middle. 2 people were shot next to her. A video she took before the shooting shows rapper Lil Baby on set of the music video.
Baby, there he go, there he go.
I thought it was just a prop for the video shoot.
No One, welcome back to the Copper Fam. Appreciate you joining, family. Y'all show No One some love.
But then we find out later it was something different.
I had shooting.
What did it sound like?
Pow, pow, pow.
Tonight, he's glad she's safe.
Blessed. Of course I'm blessed. I would never want to have anything happen to my daughter.
The people that were shot were not a part of the video production team, but there may have been individuals involved in the totality of the production.
You can do it from across the street. I ain't even used that one. Nobody's saying you have anything to do with anything. We're saying we got to clear it up. Stand across the street, please. Across the street. Let me get some yellow tape down here. No, y'all got to clear out. Y'all got to clear out from here.
So yeah,
crime section. So as Chief Shearbaum stated, several weeks after this incident took place, we were out here holding a very similar press conference, and we were asking for the help from the community. In just a moment, I'm going to show you some pictures of 7 individuals that we were able to take into custody in conjunction with this tragic incident. I stood here and told you the story how on July 2nd, just after midnight of last year, we had 2 13-year-olds and 11-year-old celebrating the birthday of Lamont Fremont. He had just turned 13, and he got to experience about 30 minutes of being a teenager before his life was taken. And when I turn it over to Major Woolfolk, he's going to discuss some of the investigative techniques and really the gang involvement and the gang ties that led to this incident taking place. But one thing I want to make absolutely clear, and I said it then and I'll say it again, these kids were innocent victims. So when we talk about the gang involvement, these 2 13-year-olds and this 11-year-old, they didn't have a gang involvement. We didn't have interactions with them as a police department. They were good kids in the community, and unfortunately, their futures, their lives were taken. So I do want to thank all the community members that gave us tips and information on this case. And while I can't say necessarily that one individual tip broke this thing open, each tip is like a little puzzle piece, and we took every one of those, glued them together, and we're able to thankfully bring this case to resolution. And I will say that even though we have made 7 arrests, we never stop working cases. So if anyone has more information, we would ask that you do bring that forward, provide that to us, and we will certainly investigate every detail of those tips. So right now we're going to show some images of the individuals that we have made arrests on. So 5 of these individuals we already had in custody, we had arrested. Some of them were in jail on previous charges not related to this. So once we established probable cause, we're able to serve the jails in which they're housed with these arrest warrants. So the first one there is Mr. Sanders. Let me flip through him. Richard Hollis. Reginald Thomas. Marcus Crawford. Mr. Mobley. Traydon Crawford. And Traydon is one of the individuals that we took into custody yesterday. And then the final 7th individual is Mr. Ollie Caldwell. If you notice with these individuals, 2 of them share the same last name. It's because they are brothers. So it seems like there was some type of family history of gang activity, gang involvement. And unfortunately, on the night of July 2nd, that escalated to 2 13-year-old children losing their lives. So now I'm going to turn it over to Major Ralph Woolfolk, and he will discuss a little bit of the gang conflict and some of the investigative techniques and procedures that we used to get us here today. So thank you.
Thanks, Major. My name is Major Ralph Woolfolk of the Violent Crime Interdiction Section. And I first want to say the overall theme of this case is grown men playing.
Hey, look, so what's crazy about this dude, grown man playing games, dude, he trying to act like, he trying not to say that it's Lil Baby and trying to keep it a secret, but then Channel 2 went to the jail or whatever and found out that it was Lil Baby, and they put it right out. That's cold. Which they put that shit out immediately.
Gangster that left 2 of our children. And I first want to say the overall theme of this case is grown men playing gangster that left 2 of our children in graves and a community in fear. And we know in these communities that strength is about building community not destroying it. And in this case, leaving 2 young people in their grave. I want to thank the community that was here with our investigation team from the inception of this incident. Out on the night of the incident, we not only received investigative assistance from this community, but we also saw a community that was full of compassion and love. Video evidence depicted several people in this community pouring out of their apartments, attempting to triage wounds, attempting to transport persons to the hospital, and making several 911 calls from this community that were used throughout our investigation that led ultimately, with their assistance, to some of the apprehensions.
Okay, so what else is crazy about this, right, is that they was in, allegedly they was in like enemy territory. They was in somebody else's hood. That was the reason they got shot at. And then the people, whoever hood they was in, shot some kids that was over there and killed the kids that was over there. But the call came from prison, whoever made the call. So you saying that you made a call and you sent them to get shot, to shoot little baby them in your hood area, but then you end up killing some kids in your own hood? Is that what you saying? I'm confused by that. Like, if that's what happened, like, that's dumb. Like, you the one made the call. You I don't know. But kids got shot in your hood, though. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
In this case, I want to also thank the FBI, who has not only been an incredible partner to us throughout this investigation, but has also been a consistent partner to us throughout our fight, as Chief Shearbaum always says, against gangs, guns, and drugs. We have had a consistent partnership with the FBI that has aided us in suppressing our violent crime. And for
okay, Mookie says it's 2 different hoods. It's 2 different hoods. Okay, that makes more sense. What up, Chloe Albert's Revenge? I see you. Appreciate you joining.
For our team members internally in the Atlanta Police Department that spent countless hours, investigative hours, a tandem approach, collaborative approach between homicide, between gangs, between our ACE unit, between our intelligence analysts, and several other internal units throughout the police department that spent countless hours working this case. I remember getting a call from the gang unit over 4th of July weekend asking to go up on a wiretapped investigation. And subsequent to that call, the next 48 hours were spent on the phone with our district attorney's office, who was a great support to us throughout this investigation and trying to stand that T3 up. And through that investigation, our gang unit sacrificed vacations. Our gang unit sacrificed time with loved ones, sacrificed relationships throughout the course of this investigation. In 5,424 man-hours from July 10th through October 30th, that was spearheaded by the Atlanta Police Gang Unit in a wire room to ultimately assemble key facts and elements leading us to where we are.
Shout out to Chop motherfucking Diggy.
In the investigation. And for the investigation aspect of this, Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang violence ultimately took his life. Gang violence that was orchestrated by adults in our city. And cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions. And you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions. Ultimately, there are components of this investigation that led back to a prison in the state of Georgia where an illegal phone, a contraband phone, was used to orchestrate these acts. There was a hit called by a high-ranking gang member on the opposite side of that opposing rapper's gang. And I'll tell you today, that gang was Goodfellas. Goodfellas Criminal Street Gang being one of the most hyper-violent gangs in the city of Atlanta. And we will pursue you relentlessly. Relentlessly.
Hey, Mookie, hey, Goodfellas, ain't that the gang that they say Greer is from? Young Thug brother, the one that's being locked up, that went back to jail. Ain't he from Goodfellas? I don't remember if I got it right, but I think he was from Goodfellas. Look at this dude's face.
These nuts. Got him. Got him.
And making sure that we keep this city safe and suppressing violence throughout our city. And lastly, I'll say, as Major Malecki indicated, there is still a $50,000 reward that is on the table for additional information in relationship to this case. And our detectives and our officers, through all of the internal units and external units that you see here today, will be knocking on doors and working with this community that has been so resilient to collect additional information to continue to move this investigation forward. Thank you.
Try to Scott him. What up, though, family? Appreciate you joining.
Yeah, these three juveniles, I mean, was it a crossfire situation? Were they targeted? Was there a gun battle between rival gang elements?
No, there was not. We do believe that the three juveniles, two who were killed, one who was injured, they were just outside on the steps celebrating a birthday party. We don't believe that they were the intended targets of that gunfire. But these individuals that we have shown indiscriminately opened fire on that apartment complex, resulting in these three children getting injured and killed.
One quick follow-up.
Yeah, I know I really don't cover kid content, but they are 13, so they teenagers. It's different. So I really don't like to cover or watch content about kids, but I made an exception for them.
Question: the person who made the call for a hit from prison, that isn't one of the current people who are already in jail. This is another individual we're talking about.
Yeah, the individual that orchestrated this from Hancock State Prison, he was already incarcerated.
So he's going to be charged.
Yeah, he has been charged.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions. The last two people, I know that you said that one of them was Traydon Crawford.
Information that will follow in the upcoming prison. We will not be naming. Yeah, at this time, so not to compromise the integrity of this investigation, we will not be naming that gang. It is a hyper-violent hybrid street gang here in the city of Atlanta, and there's subsequent information that will follow in the upcoming preliminary hearing.
So these guys that were arrested were Goodfellas members?
Yes.
Question? No further questions? Chief, you can just remind everyone.
They didn't want to name the gang, didn't want to name who it was, but we know who it was because Channel 2 went and dropped the scoop on them. But you know how it is out here in these streets. They don't want, I don't know, I guess it's like a war on rappers.
You're right, and the residents we spoke to this morning say they were so excited to see Grammy Award-winning Little Baby. But they say that excitement really quickly turned into fear when what they believe was a drive-by shooting occurred. And now Atlanta PD is investigating.
That happened, it was just too much for me.
Residents in the Dixie Hills neighborhood say Tuesday's shooting on Verbranda Street that occurred on the set of a music video featuring popular Atlanta rapper Little Baby has them on edge.
We just heard pow, 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 and that thing over, da-da-da-da-da-da, and we grabbed the kids, and everybody was just running. It was a whole bunch of chaos.
The Atlanta Police Department's Violent Crime Unit is now investigating the incident that left 3 people shot. Officials say one person was hit in the arm, another in the neck, and a third in the back. And while all are expected to survive, police say the shooting may be part of a bigger problem with gang activity.
Several of the individuals in the city that are involved in some of these hybrid rap performance groups are involved in.
So if it's 2 different hoods, how they saying that he had something to do with it? Who was it? The Little Baby hood that the little boys got shot at? The apartments? Was that in Little Baby hood? But I thought Little Baby was from Miami. My bad. Am I out of touch? I didn't know he was from an Atlanta gang. I thought he was from Miami all this time.
In certain conflicts throughout the city. So us as a city of Atlanta, we do want to be proactive in making sure that our gang unit is on scene and at the on front of any potential matters that could escalate as a result of a shooting of this nature.
Woke folks says children and other bystanders were also on scene of the music video when the about 30 shots rang out. And as police try to piece together who's responsible and what led up to the shooting, neighbors we spoke to say the violence is getting out of hand.
It's ridiculous that you can't come outside and have a good time or show some love in the neighborhood because you always want to argue, fight, and shoot and kill, and that's a problem. They need to take these damn guns off the street. That's the biggest problem.
Security companies as defendants. The victim in this lawsuit looking to be paid out more than $680,000 tied to medical expenses and other damages.
My bad, I was on mute. So this right here, this the dude that, one of the people that got shot. I think he got shot in the neck. I don't know if he's the one that was on the 911 call, but he actually got shot. And he asking for $650,000, like old boy just said. Really asking for $30 million for the knuckle scrapes. And this dude really got shot. He only trying to get $640. Really said he want $30 million.
I need an ambulance. Victim in this lawsuit looking to be paid out more than $680,000 tied to medical expenses and other damages.
I need an ambulance. What's the location?
Gunshots rang out on the set of Atlanta rapper Lil Baby's music video on Verbena Street.
Are you on Verbena Street?
Yes.
What's your...
Okay, you said it was in Lil Baby neighborhood. Okay, because you know the news, they don't tell us where, none of all that. So, shoot, we might have to bring you up. You want to come up on the call? Shoot, we need some more inside scoop.
Name?
Rapper Lil Baby's music video on Verbena Street.
Are you on Verbena Street?
Yes.
What's your name?
Gavin. I could breathe. I in the neck.
That was Kevin Mayers. He survived. Now 5 months later, he's filing a lawsuit naming multiple defendants, including Shot Clock and Quality Control Music, alleging they were producing Lil Baby's music video, accusing them of failing to hire adequate security. The lawsuit also names the security companies, Canon Executive and Tactical Elite, along with Bristol Consulting, who controlled the property where the video was being produced. Claiming, quote, defendants negligently handled the pre-production planning as well as the on-site needs and responsibilities, which such negligence led to the catastrophic injuries of plaintiff Kevin Mayers. Mayers was one of 3 men shot, and fortunately all survived. The lawsuit blasting the security, even claiming there was none on site, stating, quote, defendants' negligence includes their failure to provide any security personnel at the property at the time of the subject shooting.
So yeah, that's crazy. They about to try to get him behind that. Oh, I still got that center bill. That's supposed to be for the Fani clip. Oh, she coming up right here. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't feel like reading this, y'all. We got about 45 minutes left. It's gonna be an early one tonight. It might be a little longer depending on how much of this I read. But I didn't blow them up enough. Georgia Senate passes bill allowing Trump and co-defendants to seek legal fee reimbursement from the prosecutor for her being disqualified. So Fani Willis was disqualified. So now they just passed the bill. Trump sliding that in and getting them bills passed so he could come and snatch her up and get her in some shit. You know, she already getting sued in all types of ways. So. Finding of facts. Let me see. This was Stacey Abrams. Yeah, I'm gonna prepare some more stuff for that. I was kind of had to rush. I didn't get to spend as much time as I planned on as I wanted to, so I didn't get to get this stuff organized like I wanted to. So I'm gonna have to come back on some of this stuff. The complaints, election cycle. Yeah, that's from the Stacey Abrams stuff. Fani Willis. Yeah, I ain't gonna read them right now. but it was denied. Whatever it say, all that shit she was trying to do, it was denied. So yeah, they coming for you, Fani. She was trying to fight it basically, but it was denied. And this is some of the receipts from her and Nathan Wade. I got some receipts. Yeah, we got some real receipts, baby. Here go another one. We got the receipts. We got the receipts. Royal Caribbean Cruise. We got the receipts, family. I'm going to get back into that later, too. I'm going to do another video about Fani, but I just wanted to pull them up for y'all so y'all can see we do got the receipts, family. You know what I'm talking about? Nathan Wade.
Sometimes lawmakers act a little impulsively when they're under the gun like they are today, and they did so today when they passed a bill, particularly in the Senate, that
I believe this just happened today.
Would outlaw drinks that are laced with THC, tetrahydrocannabinols, which is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, and some strains of hemp. It turns out that while marijuana is still technically illegal, hemp has become a source of THC in drinks and other products sold in CBD stores and elsewhere. Today, the Senate passed a bill that would ban the sale of drinks that have THC in them. Backers of the measure said Georgia has become a place where it's too easy to pick up beverages with psychoactive qualities.
That may be good financially, but I think there are social consequences that.
Let me see, that one kind of small. They shrink now when it's over a certain amount of writing, but I'll read that one for you. FFS says, so let me get this right. They want to punish him for getting popped at, for going somewhere to make a music video, but not going after the people who popped shots at him. How, Sway?
We need to think about in the bigger picture, based on the best, less than best practices we've seen in Denver and some of these other cities.
So I said this was a spontaneous action by the Senate. The original Senate THC bill was a less impactful bill that got a last-minute amendment in the Senate chamber to ban THC drinks. That amendment barely passed, and it was one of a couple of cannabis bills that have gotten attention among the
passing the law again to ban THC drinks. So you could buy weed but not the drinks. I don't get it. That's crazy. That's weird. Why they say it's still not legal? I guess it's not in some places.
many other bills getting attention here at the Capitol.
Don't y'all got dispensaries down there though in Georgia? Y'all got dispensaries, right? Like weed shops.
What we like to call crossover day.
There's an appeal. DA Fani Willis was given the option to stay on the case if former special prosecutor Nathan Wade was removed. Wade, you might remember, stepped down. However, Trump's defense attorneys are still seeking an appeal. We spoke with Willis over the weekend while she participated in an Easter basket giveaway.
Everybody, I don't feel like my reputation needs to be reclaimed. Let's say it for the record. I'm not embarrassed by anything I've done. I guess my greatest crime is I had a relationship with a man, but that's not something that I find embarrassing in any way. And I know that I have not done anything that's illegal.
Well, Willis stressed her appearance at this Easter basket giveaway was solely to support the community. She also declined to answer who would take the place of Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Now, Trump's attorney, Steve Sadow, reacted to Willis speaking out at that Easter event. In a post on X, he wrote, quote, apparently Judge McAfee's warning to Willis in his disqualification order about talking about the case in a public forum is simply being ignored. Does that surprise anyone?
That her top aide was abusing federal funds. Now, in the audio, Willis appears to agree with this whistleblower and say that she'd look into it. Yet a little less than 2 months later, the staffer who raised the concerns was fired. Let's take a listen to that audio.
He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen.
Man, could you imagine like having this person in charge of the law or in charge of like prosecuting people and in charge of the money? She always talking about she need more money, but then she doing stuff like this?
To the words I'm saying.
Cuffey, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration.
Yeah, so the implication here is that this whistleblower came forward about another employee who wanted to misuse grant funds.
That in, and Doug, she says the DA actually misused federal funds meant for youth gang prevention.
That's right. That is what she testified here to senators at the state capitol today. That whistleblower's name is Amanda Timpson, and she was in charge of that gang prevention program. She wrote the grant that she is alleging was misused on things like laptops, travel, and swag for the DA's office. She had actually been an employee of the DA's office before Fani Willis even took over as district attorney. And she said when she flagged what she said was an illegal use of that grant money, she was reprimanded, demoted, and eventually fired. The investigation by state senators here isn't even the only probe into Willis's alleged misuse of those federal grant funds. The House Judiciary Committee in Washington, D.C. is also looking into those allegations and has sent Willis several letters seeking documents that have gone unanswered. Timpson said this was less about her firing and more about transparency.
I'm speaking up for more than just me, a little bit vindicating, and also to me it helps people kind of like dig into what's really going on in spaces of elected officials and corruption and potential corruption.
If you had to give me a sentence, what is the sentence theme?
Once I told him about his, respectfully and in an email, about his lack of leadership and the
So this is the tape she recorded with Fani.
fact that he wanted to do things with grants that were impossible. And I kept telling him, like, we can't do that, and questioning stuff. He would take me off projects, tell people I wasn't doing what I was supposed to because I questioned him. Because I understood, I helped write that grant. I knew what was in that grant. He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffey, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration. He tells people, when I reached out to you, he told me, oh, you think your word is safe? Exactly when you reached out to Miss Willis, she called me and told me, she tell me everything. So once you reach out to her, she's going to reach back out to me. So I didn't even go to HR, and he put Dexter's name on my PDP, and I didn't even feel safe going to anybody.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 supervisors that have failed in this building. What's interesting to me, because I'm in a learning curve too, they each pretend to have a relationship with me that they do not have. Mm-hmm. I guess that's an intimidation tactic. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that you felt that way, but Dexter certainly don't have no relationship with Michael Cuffey. You were safe to go those places.
Do you know how much investigation ID I watch? Do you know how much true crime I watch? You can't get away with nothing. There's cameras everywhere.
Right right now to expand its investigation into groups linked to Stacey Abrams after a major ethics settlement. The New Georgia Project, an organization tied to Abrams, admitted to illegally raising and spending millions of dollars to support Democratic campaigns. Now lawmakers are also questioning a $2 billion federal grant given to another Abrams-affiliated group. The Senate Special Committee on Investigations has been given subpoena power as it now looks into potential campaign finance violations and misuse of public funds.
Got breaking news regarding the YSL racketeering case that has taken place for months at the Fulton County Courthouse. Now, once again, the trial needs a new judge.
So this is the judge that denied her. Remember I just pulled the paperwork up. I didn't read it, but she got denied for the trying to fight her having to show up for the subpoena. Judge was like, nah, bro, you got to show up. But this ain't that clip, but this is her though. It's the same judge from the YSL trial that recused herself.
Newly appointed presiding judge Shakura Ingram has now recused herself from the case. The judge cites the arrest of a Fulton County deputy who was once assigned to her courtroom, who was in a relationship with one-time co-defendant YSL Christian Eppinger. Now, even though Eppinger is no longer part of this trial, Judge Ingram ruled she should disqualify herself because the public could question her impartiality.
We all know now why she recused herself, because she wasn't about to put up with Fani bullshit. We all know how Fani out there janky. She was like, nah, not me. Let me just recuse myself from that.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Now, the judge's action follows the removal of presiding judge Earl Glanville from the case. Another Fulton County judge removed Glanville, who was Fulton County's chief superior court judge, after weeks of contention between Judge Glanville and defense attorneys. Right now, there is no word on when a third judge will be appointed or when that trial will resume.
Yes, and I believe he worked with Paul Howard for like 7 years, so he.
Okay. So you reached out to him
yes.
directly. All right, tell us about that.
And I told him there were youth in the junior DA program from out of the area. I told him how he treated me. I told him about the PDP. I told him about the OJJDP funds, and I sent him a copy of the PDP, and I told him specifically in a text. Well, I spoke to him in person, and then I sent him a picture of this professional development plan, and I said to him,
Wait. So that's what I was wondering too when I heard him say that. So weed still not legal in Georgia? What kind of stuff is that? It was saying nope. What? I did not know that. No shops or none of that? That's crazy.
Specifically,
that's another reason I would move about that.
That at this point in time, like, he's putting you guys in a situation where I have multiple potential lawsuits because of how he's treating me. And I said, I need to speak with Ms. Willis because I don't believe she knows. That was, I believe, at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then about 5, he responded back to the PDP by saying, wow, period, this is a problem, period. And then text me saying, you have a meeting with the DA.
So are black people usually, I mean, you know, of course not always, but are they the ones that they say usually are Democratic or Republican? I don't remember. Which one do they always be usually going for? I know it's like the opposite or something that they should be.
3 p.m.
This is in July of 21 sometime.
Yes, this is July 26th of 2021. Right. And so immediately, you know, I felt like a weight was lifted. Finally, I'll get to let her know, because I felt like I was trying to, in part, protect her, protect the youth of Fulton County.
You could buy liquor, but not a ganja drink. Right. What kind of sense do that make? And people killing people over drunk driving all the time. You ain't never heard nobody die because they was too high and couldn't drive. That don't make no, like, oh, I was running people over because I was so high.
County and just protect the integrity of these grants. And so ultimately at 3 p.m. I went to Ms. Willis's office. Judging by Dexter was in this meeting, I could tell that she was already kind of briefed. And I went to, she said something to the effect of, now what's going on? So I went to speak and tell her, I said, I'm concerned about the way the grants, and I think I said something else, and she cut me right off in the middle of my sentence and said, effective immediately, you're going to be moved, and demoted me to the role of file clerk. So immediately,
You went from a department head to a file clerk.
Correct, a program head. So I went from the director of juvenile diversion to a file clerk, which changed not only the function of my job, it changed my schedule, it changed my location, it changed, I mean, this is frivolous, but I was taken off the website. I was essentially like banished for what I saw to be protecting her at the time.
Did she say why you were being demoted?
That's crazy. Street dealing. I don't even buy off the streets no more. It's been so long. Since I moved to Arizona.
No, not at that time. The meeting lasted maybe 2.
When I was in Cali, I didn't buy at the shop because we used to get them pounds, but I don't buy pounds no more, so I just go to the shop and get my little ounce.
To 5 minutes because she cut me off immediately and told me I was demoted. So I was kind of left flabbergasted, and I reached back to her that evening via email just to get some clarity, and that was the first time I ever heard that she was saying that she wasn't pleased with my work. And it's important to note, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, I feel like we're already there, but it's important to note that 3 weeks prior to this, she had just asked me to assist in another department. So 3 weeks before, she wasn't dissatisfied with my work. So it was shocking to me that suddenly she was dissatisfied with my work the day that I disclosed that I was concerned about the way these funds were being spent.
You have mentioned several times about retaliation. What type of conduct or actions were aimed towards you that you felt were retaliation? This demotion's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, the Delta 8, Delta 9. It probably got something to do with them drinks that Young Thug had. That what's his name? Weinstein was like, can I pass these out? Can I pass these around so they can sample it? Them THC drinks that Thugger had.
But yeah. Were you being treated differently by Mr. Cuffey or Mr. Bond or any other supervisory type employees?
Yes. Treatment as far as, like I said, being disinvited to meetings, just the attitude of when I would ask for things or ask for additional like guidance or feedback, it wouldn't happen. I also, in addition to, I sent him an email because he was essentially stifling my work. I was completing tasks that Ms. Willis had asked of me in previous meetings, and I would be asking him like, hey, did you get this to her? Hey, I've had this done. Did you look over it? I'm waiting for your feedback. And I was just essentially put on the back burner.
The genetically modified?
Also, like the PDP. The demotion was the first act from Ms. Willis directly. And then after that, because of the change in my work schedule and the change in my work location, I had
and I ain't talking about medical. I mean, medical, yeah, you could go and get a license and get medical. We used to get the cards for like $25. You could go get one from the doctor. But I'm talking about recreational, not medical.
I had asked for accommodations or a different setting because they were rehabbing the building, and it was causing me some health issues because I have pre-existing existing condition, and I was told no, and told if I brought it up again it would negatively impact my future evaluations, which would impact my employment. And about an hour later my laptop was confiscated, so I couldn't work from home even if I wanted to. Sometimes I would come to work and now as a file clerk, I would literally be putting thousands of documents into alphabetical order and then creating an Excel spreadsheet. And
What department were you in as a file clerk? Were you changed to a different department or just removed as program head and kept in that same juvenile justice department?
No, I was moved to record restriction, and then ultimately I became the file clerk liaison between pre-indictment, pretrial indictment diversion for adults and the record restriction. So stuff I've never done or have any type of...
Record restriction is what us old guys used to call expungement from your record. Okay, now they restrict your record so people can't see about your prior convictions or charges against you that you've resolved through a pretrial diversion program or first offender plea, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, totally different than...
It's a new place called Hypocrisy, Georgia. Population 25. It's just Fani and her friends.
Than what you were trained to do, your interest, your background, and your experience under Paul Howard's office.
The only average person that's invited is Relly.
Office.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I didn't receive any real training, so I couldn't go into certain systems. The only thing I could really do is put things in alphabetical order and put them into Excel spreadsheets, and that's what I did. And there was 2 occasions where I came to work and the over 1,500 documents that I put in alphabetical order were now all in disarray. So things like that, to where it just made coming to work a very anxious event.
Okay. Did you ever have any further conversations with Ms. Willis where you expressed your concerns about the misuse of federal funds?
I did. So on November 19th of 2021, I had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Willis again. And because of the fact that the first time I spoke with her regarding these funds, I was demoted, I decided to record her. And I think it was just because I was fearful of what type of retaliation even bringing it up would have, but also, again, like my track record with her was the last time I did this, I was demoted. And so I did have a chance to speak with her, and I told her. Was that an in-person conversation? It was an in-person conversation.
How did you record that conversation?
On my phone.
All right. Tell us about that conversation.
Yes, sir. I just spoke with her and told her about my concerns with the grants and how I knew that the grants were allocated for a specific...
Jazzy said not too much on the alcohol. We got you, family. Hey, she said she recorded on her phone. I bet you Fani be patting people. Damn, I got it super loud, huh? Let me cut my mic down. I bet you Fani be patting people down now before she talk to them, get them searched.
Purpose and the way that Mr. Cuffey was essentially stating that he wanted to spend the grants was illegal. It was impossible under the grant, and she said that she didn't disagree with me.
Okay, you said Democrats, right? So Lav say Democrats. I assume you talking about my question of what do blacks usually claim? What do they usually represent? Democrats, right? So if Fulton County is like one of the most highly populated with black people, the highly black populated people or whatever it's called in U.S., then how is it a Republican state if most of the people black there? Don't they usually vote Democrat? I mean, I don't know, but how is it? I don't know. I'm confused.
Me, and she said she really wanted me to listen to the words that she was saying, that I wasn't necessarily wrong, essentially. And then she proceeded to tell me that Michael Cuffey had failed in her administration, and that everybody who does that essentially pretends to be her friend. And I just went on to say that I felt like there was some, I think I said funny style business going on, and I just wanted to ensure that she knew, and she proceeded to tell me that, things take a long time to get to her. It's a new administration. But not once did she ever say that I was wrong. Not once did she ever say that I was off base or that what I was saying was untrue at any point in our conversation. And so That was November 19th. December 7th of 2021, I wrote her an email, and I CC'd Dominique Martinez, who is, I believe, one of the county attorneys, and I just kind of told her, you know, what I had experienced in the office, and that how my treatment had brought me a significant amount of anxiety. I thought that I was going to ultimately retire from the DA's office, and it made a place that I used to be proud of working at hell for me, essentially. I never received a letter back or any notice that she even read it. And then in January, I don't know if you want me to go that far.
No, you're doing great. So
Okay.
now you're up to January of 22.
Yes.
So you've been still working there for a year. You just got demoted and essentially harassed in your employment.
Yes.
And taken off of websites and cut out of meetings, et cetera. Okay.
Absolutely. And so in December 22nd of 2022, I was actually sent home due to
Chloe trying to get people locked up. Talk about, come up here. You can smoke weed while you wait in the court. I know you ain't talking about in Georgia where you just said it's illegal. You must stay in a different state or something.
due to COVID, somebody was exposed with COVID and they knew that I was unvaccinated, so I was sent home. And then I got sick, and when I get sick, I get really, really sick. And so I returned back to work on January 12th of 2022 with multiple doctor's letters, because that's what they asked me for.
Prove you weren't contagious with COVID or whatever.
Yes, I was actually told to quarantine for 10 days and then come back. But it was obviously during the holidays because I was sent home on the 22nd. And then I came back on January 12th. And January 14th, on January 12th, I got my leave slip signed and all that good stuff.
We don't know what that means. What's a leave slip?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. When you leave from work. So I produced my documents from my physician, and then they signed.
Excused absence, basically. You had your doctor's note.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
And then January 12th, I made my third.
No, I'm talking about in Cali. I don't know how much they cost in other states, but in Cali, you could get them for $25. And now that it's so legal, you could probably find them cheaper than that. Probably get them about $15. Nah, but I know I paid $25 for mine in Cali a couple years ago, like in 2021.
I kind of have to go back. January 12th, I made another request for health related accommodation, but I also, during this time, if I could go back, December 2nd was my first official complaint with the DCRC, which is the...
Okay, we got to slow down on that. That's the Office of Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance?
Yes, sir.
Is that a county office?
Yes.
And y'all refer to that as the DCRC, is kind of the vernacular in the...
Yes.
As for county employees?
Yes, sir.
When did you first complain to them?
I first complained to them December 2nd of 2021. And
What up, Mercy and Grace? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family. You didn't get the notification? I don't know. You might have to turn them off, turn them back on. Turn your subscribe bells to all. Sometimes they turn the settings off. If you ain't seen it in a while, sometimes they switch it up. So turn your notifications off, turn them back on. If y'all ain't subbed up, make sure y'all hit the sub, hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
And I made another complaint, I believe, on December 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then I made my third, well, let me get to the January 14th. So January 14th, The January 12th email that I sent regarding my health, I CC'd one of my supervisors. At this time now, I have 3 supervisors because I'm working in multiple departments. And on the morning of, or on January 13th, she asked me what it was about, and then January 14th, she asked me into her office just to make sure I was okay, or so I thought. So I had a discussion with her. I had a pre-arranged meeting with the director of the DCRC, Niger Thomas, at 1 p.m. on January 14th of 2022.
Okay.
Following my conversation with Miss Ramona Toole about
supervisor that you had talked to.
Yes, she was my supervisor. I essentially, unfortunately, told her everything. I just told her, you know, what was going on. I told her about my health issues. I told her about the retaliation. And so following that meeting, I had my prearranged meeting with Miss Niger Thomas. I went to that meeting with Miss Niger Thomas at 1 p.m.
She is the director of the Office of Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance.
She was at the time. Now it's Melissa Cathrell, but she was at the time.
So Democrats always wins Fulton County. Okay, I got you.
And I went in there to speak with her about the whistleblowing and how ultimately the whistleblowing led to all this additional retaliation. And I was in her office for probably about 90 minutes.
The whistleblowing was bringing up the misuse of federal funds.
Correct.
Okay.
And so I was in her office for about 90 minutes. While I was in the office with her,
That's what I'm confused by for always. Hey, I'm still confused about it because how can it be a Republican state if they mostly Democrats? I don't know. I don't get it.
I received,
or maybe I guess that's just Fulton County, but the rest of the state. Okay, we thinking about county and state. Okay, that makes sense. So Fulton County is Democrats, but most of the state is Republican. Okay, I get you.
to my county phone a request for a meeting request for January 18th at 2 p.m. From Miss Willis and Dexter Bond. I told Miss Niger Thomas in that meeting that I did not feel safe going into that meeting by myself, and she said that she would have a member of the Fulton County Human Resources Department.
Y'all remember Dexter Bond? Damn, I meant to put a clip of Dexter Bond up in there. Could you imagine him yelling at her, Fani, and Dexter Bond in the room there? They probably would have jumped her. She probably would have came up missing.
Accompany me to that meeting if I didn't feel safe. And I asked.
Did Ms. Willis tell you in that
Mercy
phone
and
text
grace.
the purpose or the reason for the January 18th meeting?
No, it was just it just came to my email from my phone, from my county phone.
So it was an email.
Yes. And so I guess I left that meeting scared, but kind of glad that I felt somebody else was essentially like in my corner to advocate for me. Somebody would be with me at that meeting on the.
Peace to the family. Welcome to Flesh of the Gods. So you want to get your hands on some slime coins? No problem. Just jump into the chat, drop a message, and boom, you'll be gifted your first points. Now, if you want to see how many you've got, just type !slime coins in the chat, one word, no spaces, and you'll see your balance pop up in the chat. And when you're ready to redeem them, look up at the top of the screen for command prompts. The commands on the top left will alter the stream. The commands on the top right will summon puppets. You can donate via Cash App at $Versatile369 or the PayPal link in the video description. Thank you for tapping into the most interactive live stream. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support is greatly appreciated. Stay fresh and stay blessed, family.
So I wouldn't be by myself. and I went back to my area and continued on my Excel spreadsheet that I started that morning. About 20 to 25 minutes later, there's like a knock on the side of the thing, and they said Capers Green, who was the chief investigator for under Miss Willis, he said, Miss Timpson, I got some unfortunate documentation for you. I need you to get your stuff and we're going to walk you out the building. And he handed me my termination letter. And
immediately after you meeting with the director of the Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance Division.
Yes.
You think she ratted you out or told them that you...
Chloe, your slime coin should be in the mail.
You were making these complaints?
I believe that Ramona Toole, in the conversation that we had that morning, went directly to Miss Willis, and I think that it's possible that Niger Thomas said something. I cannot speak to that, but I think it's more likely that Ramona Toole, who is a good friend and ally of Miss Willis, must have went to her office and let her know that I told her what was going on. And ultimately, I was walked out of the building by 7 armed investigators. And given a letter that was completely, it just says that I'm an at-will employee and that my services were no longer needed.
Did you have a reason for your termination?
They did not include, I didn't receive a separation letter for almost 2 months because they refused to give that to me, but when they did, it just said employee discharge. So I had no understanding to this day because ultimately the PDP that Cuffy had written was, Ms. Willis did say that was null and void. He didn't follow proper channels. There was no documentation. So there was no, I have never received a warning in the almost 4 years that I was at the DA's office. In fact, the opposite. I have received praises from both Ms. Willis and Mr. Howard. My entire time at the DA's office, I've never required or received any disciplinary action on any level outside of the retaliation and ultimate termination from my job.
What are the DA's office's rules about retaliation for raising issues or whistleblowing or bringing irregularities to their attention? Does the DA's office have a personnel policy, or is it covered by Fulton County's personnel policy?
My understanding is, well, at the time that I was fired, they...
So this right here, what she about to explain, she should be able to sue her. She should be able to take her to court or something because she violated what she about to explain.
Under Miss Willis, they didn't have an employee handbook. That was something that was still being worked on, so there was no policy, so we fell under the Fulton County policy. And under Fulton County policy, it's my understanding that it's unlawful, just like it is in the state of Georgia, to retaliate against, demote, or provide any adverse employment actions against somebody who is blowing the whistle.
Okay. And after that, you're out of work.
So yes, after that, I'm out of work. As a last attempt at retaliation, the time that I had been out sick was now reported as leave without pay. That's what they classified it under. So I was for a while until I was able to correct it with Fulton County outside of the DA's office. So they took over, I think it was $4,000 of leave without pay. They kept me on as an active employee without pay, so I was unable to get any unemployment. And so just to keep, you know, myself and my family afloat, we had to tap into my retirement. Once my complaint was actually filed, Ms. Willis made completely slanderous and libelous statements against me. So anybody that essentially Googled me for a job would.
Oh, you talk about New York? Shoot, you could do whatever you want to in New York. I'll be seeing some of them videos, especially on the train. They do all types of stuff out there.
Asked me in interviews, what is this about? And anybody who's ever hired anybody knows that it's already a gamble. So if somebody in a position of authority is saying that this person is inadequate, they may likely believe that. So it made my life extremely hard, and my family's life extremely hard. And just, you know, for me, I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth, because, you know, I did everything that Fulton County requires me to do to be essentially protected. I did everything that the DA's office requires you to be protected.
So I dropped the link. We got 15 minutes for anybody who want to join. Not 15 minutes. We'll extend it if anybody want to join. But I'll leave the link dropped for 15 minutes. And if anybody want to come up, we'll end it after that. But if y'all want to come up, the link is in the chat. Let me know if you need the code, but it should be good.
Protected, and I wasn't every step of the way.
How many jobs did you apply to?
I to get the job that I'm at now, I applied to over 1,000 jobs just so somebody would hear me enough for me to be able to get back into a position that was even halfway comparable to what I did before. And I've been, I worked it like I was working a 9 to 5. I applied and I made sure that every single day I was intentional about what I was doing so that I could mitigate what had been done to me and make sure that me and my family were okay.
How many months were you out of work?
I think total it was 5, but then after that it was the initial job that I got was just a floater job, essentially to make sure we didn't lose our home and stuff. But it took me until September of 2023 to land a job that was comparable to what I had at the DA's office.
Okay. And you ultimately filed a whistleblower lawsuit.
I did.
And that's Mr. Mario Williams is your attorney here with you today.
Correct.
Is he handling that lawsuit for you as well?
He is.
Okay.
We'll enter a scheduling order that'll set out the deadlines for discovery, and we'll get Mr. Pack on a case management calendar. All right. Mr. Pack, you're free to leave the booth, sir.
Oh, yeah. So actually, it ain't a full 15 minutes. That's just Judge Ingram. I ain't even going to, well, I don't know. I'll let it play, but that was just so we could get a little bit about Judge Ingram. But she not even really saying too much. She just talking to some of them and kind of planning for future cases. So this is like preliminary hearing type thing, but just a little bit so we can see. This the one that denied Fani. So she was bold enough to stand up to her. I don't know about everybody else. She said denied. But appreciate y'all being here, family. If anybody want to come up, the link is open. Late night, you going live tonight?
And going to position 5, Mr. Powell and 4 North. A2SC 182187. All parties are here via video. Mr. Powell, his attorney, Ms. Bryant, ADA, Ms. Hiles, and we're on for plea and arraignment today. Mr. Powell's bond hearing is scheduled for June 8th. Ms. Bryant, what plea is your client entering today?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, and may I sign your name to the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hiles, may I sign your name to the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Powell, may I enter your not guilty and sign your name to the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, bond will be set as, the bond he has, is this $13,000 bond on the 2 counts that are already on his booking screen. So I'm going to add bonds on the other 2, but those 2 amounts remain the same. So the ag assault will remain at $8,000. The terroristic threats will be an unsecured judicial hold through pretrial services under level 1 supervision. The possession of firearm by convicted felon will be $2,000, and the possession of firearm during the commission of a felony will be $5,000. So the total bond is a good bond of $20,000. The conditions are no further contact with Keyshawn Wiggins. He cannot possess any weapons or firearms.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I will allow the 3 good bonds to be postable through the sheriff's 10% program. Okay. All right, we are finished with Mr. Wiggins. Thank you. Courtroom 3 is free to go. I'm going to 6 South. Wright have filed a motion to withdraw from your case. as your lawyer because you fired him. So I wanted to know who did you hire to take his place?
Oh, my pops is handling that. I don't know who he's going to get right now, so I really can't tell you at this moment.
Okay, so you just sitting there. You don't have a lawyer.
Not at the moment, no, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, for always. Appreciate you, family. We on our way up out of here, too. Only about 10 more minutes. Vernicia Williams, what's good, family? I see you. Appreciate you joining. This is, we just looking at Ingram, just getting a feel of her. She's the one that ruled on Fani, but earlier we was talking about Miles Farley, and we touched a little bit on Lil Baby. So, yeah, we've been mixing it up a little bit.
Okay, so we are waiting on Cobb. And while we're waiting on Cobb, I will put Ms. Bryant, let you and Mr. Lewis go talk about Ms. Trice.
You're
Miss DB, what up, family?
A bond. It looks like the state
Appreciate you joining. Welcome.
Is agreeing or consenting to a UJR on behalf of Ms. Trice.
All right, Mr. Lewis.
From the GCIC that I have, she has 4 prior arrests but no prior convictions. If all that checks out, then we will have no problem going from a UJR bond for this together.
Any special conditions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Harvey, what history do you show?
That's correct, Your Honor. 5 cycles, does not appear to have any convictions.
All right. You have anything to add, Ms. Counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Chloe Albert's Revenge says retaliation in the workplace is actually a federal law, so they can do something. She can do something. And the federal, the head of the federal feds out there, she rocking with Trump, so they probably will do something. I think Fani better be careful out there. That's a fact.
As it relates to her plea in arraignment, Ms. Bryan, what plea is your client entering today?
Not guilty at this time, Judge.
You may sign your name to the indictment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lewis, may I sign your name to the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Trice, may I indicate you're not guilty on the indictment and sign your name?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'll enter a scheduling order that'll set out the deadlines for discovery. We'll get Ms. Trice on a case management calendar. Ms. Trice will be released on all counts on an unsecured judicial release.
Yeah, you don't take the train. I wouldn't take the train if I was in New York either. You don't be seeing them videos on Instagram? It'd be some wild stuff going on. You just got to sign up for one of them New York things. Same thing in Seattle, too. I used to live in Seattle, so I'll be looking at some of them. Them mugs be wilding out in Seattle, too.
Let me check one other thing to confirm.
Lawless.
Ms. Trice, are you still going to be at 1366 Campbellton Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You'll get your next court date notice in the mail, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything further on Ms. Trice from the lawyers?
Nothing from defense, Judge.
Nothing from the state.
All right. We're completed with Ms. Trice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. No, Judge, I'm sorry. Was that pre-trial, that UJR?
No.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Thank you, South Annex. Okay. So we're just waiting on Cobb and then courtroom 3 for position 7. Okay, there's courtroom 3. You can unmute Mr. Allen for courtroom 3. Unmute, thank you. This is the state versus Michael Allen, 22 SC 181485. Mr. Allen is on for plea and arraignment. Ms. Bryan, he is not represented. And so I don't know if you've already talked to him, but he got produced from DeKalb, so I'm thinking maybe not.
I haven't, Your Honor.
Okay, let me give you an opportunity to speak to him.
Your Honor, I'll be covering for Ms. Patel on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's sad about Miles. You know, I hope the best for him, man. I hope he get up out of that situation. He seemed like a good kid. He didn't seem like he was involved in the streets and all that. We was talking about it earlier, so yeah, it's at the beginning of this video if you just now coming in. Appreciate everybody being here. Shout out to everybody for tapping in. We're gonna hope some good luck for Miles. Let's see. Chloe says those videos are blown out of proportion. It's not as bad as they make it out to be, but I haven't taken the train in years because I haven't. Shoot, I don't know. Them videos be looking crazy. Y'all see the awards coming up? Yeah, we working on the awards. Hopefully we can have it done by like April or so. That would be dope. Shout out to No One on the beat. Y'all show No One some love. Y'all go sub up. Don't look like nobody coming up, so it looks like this is gonna be the end of the show for the night. But I appreciate y'all hanging out here. Late night, you going live or what? You got a link ready? Cause we getting up out of here. Yeah, I think I have a plan for Fani. You got a plan? Oh, they have a plan. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I'm sure they do. As long as it lines up with Trump's personal goals. I was a tourist, so I love the subway. I saw the stuff I never thought I'd seen. Yeah, you gonna see some crazy stuff. Well, I don't know if they still doing it. This was more like maybe like 6 months ago or something. Maybe like 6 to 10 months ago. So it might have slowed down. Maybe like a year ago. I don't know, but I ain't been watching them lately. But them videos is crazy. Blown out of proportion. Appreciate y'all, family. Bless up. Let me send a shout out to everybody in the chat real quick before we get up out of here. No One, I see you, family. Appreciate you. Tat Clouds, tat. What the fuck, man? Thanks for going live. We appreciate you. Hey, I appreciate y'all being here, family. Sorry I had to disappear for a minute. I really ain't even quite where I wanted to be, but I didn't want to keep y'all waiting too long. Y'all can thank No One. No One pushed me like, man, you got to come back. You got to do it because they missing you. So No One and Joni 4, I appreciate y'all for inspiring me to come back. And everybody, you know, appreciate all y'all. Shout out to Cha Diggy too. Appreciate y'all. FFS, appreciate you. Vernicia Williams, No One. Mercy and Grace. Jazzy T. Laugh always, have fun. Appreciate y'all, family. For always, forever. Appreciate you. Late Night Bacon with Mookie. Y'all go sub up. Let me see. You going live? Drop a link. I might still have time to do a redirect. Let's see, Tat Clouds. That look like about everybody. Mercy and Grace. Appreciate you, family. FFS. I see you. Yeah, mostly doubles. No One. Appreciate you signing back up for the membership. Shout out to everybody. Chan My Black is golden. Always love and appreciate you. All right, we're going to get up out of here, family. Much love, much love. If we get the link in time, I will do a redirect before I end it. But other than that, we out, family. Y'all stay fresh and stay blessed. Peace out.
Chasing down my goals, I self-law am master, supernatural disaster, metaphysical reaction. I am the flesh, I am the God. No one got the lab on lockdown. Talking hot winters and cold summers. Black Force Ones when we slide in the streets. We all stay home at a club jumping. What up, cousin? I see you, fam. Throwing slime coins when I watch the trial. Leos be capping, chatting action. Come and tap in the most interactive. I am the flesh. I am the God.
Oh dang, the Mooktoon, huh? I was supposed to read about Mooktoon.
to the sub, you can share, tell them pack in. From the left, right, front to the passenger side. It's right here, the premiere. How you know? Cause them boys broadcast to the live. Wanna talk about it, hit the link right here. Slide coins up, got 100 bands. Mars eyes, watch how the check. And the band made love to a bomber head. Two bands do a dance like check. I'ma keep going till I'm motherfucking tired. You what? I'm motherfucking tired. Slide brother side, could we rain down game? Like, what you mean? Just watch the rise. Watch the rise. Watch the rise. I am the flesh. I am the God. I am the flesh. I am the God.
All right, before we roll up out of here, I can't put it on the screen because it's going to skip, but I'll read it. I got it right here. Let me see. Antonio Sledge, order granting pro-hack vice admissions of non-resident attorney James C. Robichaud. On January 23rd, 2025, non-resident attorney James C. Robichaud filed a verified application for pro-hack vice admission, the court having considered the pleadings and the correspondence from the state GAR of Georgia. It's supposed to be GAR or BAR. It say GAR of Georgia finds that the application for pro-hack vice admission should be granted. The court hereby orders that James is granted permission to appear before this court and participate in this matter on pro-hack vice basis as counsel for defendant Antonio Sledge this 6th day of March 2025. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll talk more about it later. I meant to talk about it earlier. My fault, family. I forgot. But stay fresh. Stay blessed. We out. Let me see if it's a link up in here before I end it. No link? Nah. Y'all go sub up to Mookie. Late night. We out.